seconds. I'm going to wait 20 seconds. Here we go. All right. And then we're going to go into the intro. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Honor and Blood with my new co-host, a new member of the Catalano family. Everybody knows him as a great comedian, the one and only Mike Puschetti. Welcome, a big welcome to Catalano TV, and welcome to the show idea that we got coming up here. It's called Honor and Blood, people. We hope you enjoy it. Mikey and I are going to be doing a one-week show every Sunday. How do you like the setup so far, Mike?
Joe, first of all, I love this. Number one, it's like we're in it's a studio because, like, I always have problems with my mic and lights and all the bullshit that goes with this thing. You know what I mean, right? You know, tech stuff and you know what I mean, and all nonsense. It looks phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal. I just want to shout out two people, right?
Go right ahead.
First of all, the great Kevin Brennan for introducing us. That was a good thing.
Yes.
Right. And your tech guy Casey is awesome. So sweet. Nice, and and it's good to work with nice people for once.
He likes to be a more silent partner. He doesn't want no credit, but he's helped me so much. And he showed me, I didn't even know how this EV-Mux could be used in this professional way. He goes, I use in dynamic scenes or pro scenes. I go, I use it. He goes, you know how to use the pro scene? I go, no. So he taught me the last 3 days. He set everything up. He goes, all you got to do from now on is all you got to push the eyeballs, and you got everything in order. So tonight's episode, Mike, we decided to do on Alphonse Capone. Notorious Al Capone, who's the man who basically started during Prohibition the Chicago outfit, and he's the first Don of the Chicago outfit. But we're gonna talk about Al Capone, but we want to show you that a lot of people don't know what Al Capone did, right, Mike? He did a lot of good things for the people, didn't he?
Joe, they see what the government trash wrote about him. They see what the public thought of him. You know what I mean? They see, you know, a million movies and books about him, but I did some research and I about him, and you know what? Everybody has a good side in life and bad side. Al didn't wasn't just a shoot 'em up kind of guy. He ate it out.
Now, Mike, I believe you grew up in New York. What part of New York you from?
Staten Island.
And now you, as a young man, you are in the area that you grew up in. You got to meet some close friends that had family members that were.
Oh God, yeah. Because you know what, we were surrounded by it. Well, here's what it was, right? Where I grew up in my neighborhood, Joe, it was a working class people, but it was a mixture of some Irish, Italian, a couple of other people, right? A couple of neighborhoods away from me were all kids, the gangster kids, I called them, right? And the crazy thing is, Joe, right, about it is, okay, my friends I grew up with from like kindergarten.
Yep.
The high school, your friends, how many years and past that? What? Non-bullies. They were not Joe Pesci types. They were laid back. They were chilled. You wouldn't even know who their families were. Am I right or wrong, right? And they were some of the best friends I ever had.
Yes.
But then on the other end of the stick, there were people who grew up in a life that were Joe Pesci types and bullied people. You know what I mean? But those guys, Joe, didn't last too long. They didn't have a long shelf life. You know what I mean?
That's true. Now, Mikey and I both have another thing in common. He had a lot of members in the New York Police Department. I had a lot of members in the Chicago Police Department. We both had equated. Now, by any more shape, Mike and I were not made members. We weren't part of the mob. We knew guys. He went to school with a lot of the guys as kids. my neighborhood, I knew a lot of guys because of my godfather. But in any way, shape, or form, we're not here representing that
No,
we're in this life. We're not.
we just had these people in our lives at one time. You know what I
Right.
mean? And they but we didn't do any crimes. And they didn't even do any crimes. They were just
Yeah.
civilians like us, the people
That's
I
right.
knew. You know what I mean? It was a family. That
Now,
my
Mike, I got a
friends-
little present for you because I wanted to introduce you since you're here to the Super Tip. By the way, everybody, supertip.gg/Joey C's. If you want to send Mike or I anything, if you felt we deserve it and you want to send us something on the side here, you can send our Venmos. That's down there. I put Mike's down there in mine. Supertip.gg is the best way to get stuff in. We also have Super Chats, and we're on a membership drive. We need 28 more members to get to 200, and
we'll get there because
we're going to get there. We really are going to put a lot of work in this. Now, we're going to be doing it every Sunday. Next Sunday, of course, we won't be because of the Super Bowl.
absolutely.
And we can't do that because everybody will probably kill us. We'll have nobody
Oh
here.
no, we'll have like one person watching this that hates
Yeah,
sports.
well, we got
probably.
108 right now, Mike. 108 people watching.
Well, that's
this thing.
cool because Joe, with Al, right? Getting
That's
back
right.
to him originally. Okay, a lot like some mob guys like Lucky Luciano, right?
Yes,
Grew up in the tenements. They were really dirt poor, right?
that's correct.
Al was a little different because first of all, his mom was a seamstress, right?
That's correct. And his father was
His
the barber, wasn't it?
His dad was a barber, right?
Yes.
And the thing is, out, like I said, a lot of gangsters like Luciano, guys like that, grew up in the slums and they was like pushed into it. Well, Al's family, like I would say, middle class in those days, right?
Right.
His house is still in existence in Garfield Place in Brooklyn, and it was a nice house, right? But the
Right.
thing is, I don't think that he was kind of a victim of his circumstance because, and Joe, everybody's always ready to blame the parents. Am I right or wrong? The kids
That's
turn
true.
out
You're
bad.
right.
Right? That was not really the circumstances with him because, first of all, parents were normal people. You know what I mean, right? Now, I think
They were normal people. His father was a proud immigrant that came over from Italy, and he became a barber. And his mother worked hard in the factory as a seamstress. So that's
Absolutely.
true.
And the thing, Joe, is I think that I heard for years that Al's mom didn't know he was in the mob, right? Now, I don't know about that, Joe, because that's like in the movie Goodfellas, where Tommy DeVito's mom didn't know, you know what I mean? Because, well, first of all, here's why I say why. But his family was from Italy, right?
Correct.
And, the mob has been around for thousands, generations over there, right? Hundreds of years,
Yes.
right? And I'm sure his family ran into it over there. They knew all about the culture, right? And
Yes.
I don't know. I found it a little bit hard to believe that she didn't know who he was doing, but maybe she's in denial. Maybe he
Yeah.
really hid it from her. You know what I mean? But
Well, I would say back in those days, he probably did. You probably could hide something like that from your mother. I mean, you would, unless if she read newspapers and got a newspaper, and then he was in a newspaper in Chicago every day about something.
yeah, but you're right because you know what? You also got to remember his family came from another country, right?
That's right.
Al was more hip to American ways. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, that's true.
And he was more hip to our culture, so he possibly could have slided by her. You know what I mean? In his own way, because.
Yes.
But his
I believe
dad,
he was born in New York, correct? In the Bronx, I
Brooklyn,
believe.
yeah.
And I think he dropped out of school when he was 12 years old, and he started working at a brothel type saloon stop brothel as a bouncer, correct? And cleaning up.
Oh yeah, that's how he got his scar. Because
That's how he got the scar. He was
You know how he
defending.
got it?
He was defending a lady, right? That the pimp or somebody was in there trying to take her.
here's what happened. He worked at a club in Brooklyn, right, a nightclub for a gangster named Frankie Yale, who was later his boss here for a while
Right.
in Coney Island, a club called the Harvard Club.
Right.
Al was like the bouncer / bartender, but mainly the bouncer, right? And this really cute Italian girl was there. He said something about her butt, something like obnoxious, I think. And her brother, Frank Galuccio, that was the guy's name, was like a local wise guy, right? Got in a fight with Al, pulled out a knife, and then scarred him right
Cutting
after
him.
that, right? And you want to know the ironic thing, which is really crazy? I thought Al would like whacked him out years later or took revenge on him.
Right.
Listen to this, Joe. You're going to freak out. He hired him as his bodyguard years later when he had power.
Wow.
How weird is that?
That's weird. It is weird. And
You
what
think
happened after that happened, Mike? When he got in trouble and the guy cut him and he had to leave New York, didn't he?
Well, he tried to, what do you call it, go legit a couple of times. Well, actually, his father knew about Al being in the mob, right? And his
Right.
dad tried to help him. Al was like 21 when his dad died. He was young, right?
Right.
But originally, the dad brought him and his brother Ralph, who was also in the mob, his older
Yes.
brother, right?
His brother Ralph was with him. Yes, all the way through the organization. Yes.
A shoe sign stand, right? A shoe shine.
Yeah. They were very
stand,
popular
right?
back in
And
the early 1900s. Yes.
but you know what happened? Ralph corrupted him because Ralph thought, why be suckers in shine shoes? Let's shake the other shoe shine guys.
Right.
Which
They were
they
shaking him
did.
down, weren't they?
Yeah, they were shaking other people
Yeah.
down in businesses, and he brought it into it. Then Joey, after that incident with the guy that cut him in Brooklyn in Harvard, in what do you call it, Al, decided to go legit for a while.
Right.
Okay. So he was really good with numbers and he became an accountant. You know what I mean, right? Super
That's
smart.
right. He was an accountant. I remember that. Yes.
He worked for the B&O Railroad
Yes.
for a year, right? But by that time he had a son, Sonny, his name is Alpha. He was named after him, but they called him Sonny, right?
Sonny, right? Correct.
And Al did really good at the railroad, but unfortunately, Joey, what do you call it? It wasn't enough money to feed his whole family.
Right. Of course. Back
But
in those days, it was tough.
but at the time, timing, what happened was Johnny Torrio, who actually I was in a street gang with Torrio years earlier.
Wasn't he with the 5 Points gang?
He had a 5 Points gang, which
Yeah.
was notoriously vicious and
Yeah.
brutal as all hell, right? Him, Torrio, and Frankie Yale.
Right.
Anyway, by that time, Torrio went out to Chicago. He was super successful.
Under Big Jim Kalmasima, I believe.
Oh yeah, because Torrio was super successful, right?
Yes.
He brought Al to Chicago. He wasn't a gangster at first. He worked as a bartender in his nightclub, a bouncer.
He's more
you know what I mean,
businessman
right?
than he was a gangster.
Testing the waters with him, right?
Yeah.
And what do you call it? He just, he tested the waters with him for a bit, and then all of a sudden, their boss, Carl Massimo, Big Jim, who had whorehouses, all kinds of stuff going on, rackets. He was like a zillionaire in those days, right?
Yes.
But he was an old school Don. He didn't want to go to bootlegging. He thought it was a fad. It would never be over quick. You know, and it wasn't worth it for him. So that's how Al made his bones on Big Jim Colosimo.
Yes.
His first hit.
That's
he was
right. That's very true. He did that for Johnny Torrio, and then they went into the bootleg business, which we're going to talk about that in
May of
somewhere down the show.
I think 2020. And the thing is, that was Al's first, hit.
That's how That's how he actually made his bones to get into to get in with the family. But he also did all the books for Johnny Torrio, and he was very good as an accountant. He was very good as an accountant.
Great accountant.
And did he try to go legit during that? Sometime he got married. He had to get. He tried to go legit, didn't he? And
he tried to go legit, working for the B&O Railroad, but as an accountant. But you know what? It wasn't enough money to put on the table.
I wish I had the stocks from B&O Railroad today, Mike. It's probably would have been worth the fortune
of
when
course,
he cashed out.
Joey Torrio took him out to Chicago, and that's how it all started.
Yeah. You know how much he made a year? Al Capone netted $60 million in criminal empire per year.
Whoa, 60?
In that era, $60 million a year.
Someone said it could have gone as high as $100 million.
I'm sure it could have. I know he's in the top 50 as worth-wise as one of the richest gangsters. And we're going to show the top 50 too.
He would be
the top 50 gangsters.
Billionaire now, right?
Yeah. Oh, his money today would be unbelievable. It's
speaking of that, Joe, right? What do you think years ago, Geraldo Rivera?
Oh, the great opening of the vault. How many weeks did we have to watch him every week to lead up to the great vault?
Oh, Joe, did they do that? They did that in Chicago, right?
They did do that in Chicago. Yes, Geraldo Rivera. Yes. Do you know that I heard a rumor? I don't know if this is true, but someone said that they hated Geraldo so much, the outfit, that they actually put a hit on him, and he was in fear of his life.
You know what? I wouldn't doubt it, because it's funny you mention that, because, Joe, when I was young, I was like 25 when it was happening, right? I was like, maybe they'll find bodies. I was a kid. I didn't know anything. Know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm thinking maybe they'll find some cash, right? They found like a fucking beer bottle, you know.
Yeah, there was no cash in there. That was the biggest hox I've ever seen in my life. I mean, how many
First
weeks
of
did
all,
they do that
Joe,
show? It was
when
quite.
I got older, I realized
Yeah.
all the bodies he buried, but in the ocean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now, there's also a piece of history that I don't know if people know. And it's still there in Chicago. It's on Broadway and Lawrence. It's called the Green Mill Bar. Now, the Green Mill Bar has been there, goes back to the early 1900s, where all the gangsters, Al Capone used to frequent that place almost every night. And he had a special place in the bar that he sat, and it was where he didn't have his back to the door. He sat right where he could see both entrances of people coming at him. Because
Well,
when you're a gangster, you never put your back to the door.
of course, never.
Never. So, also, there was a trap door underneath the bar at the Green Mill, that stairwells that went to tunnels
Oh,
that went out to different parts of the city. And this is how
Whoa.
they say one of the ways Al Capone bootlegged the booze in that he got in, and they walked through these tunnels and it worked at night. Now, the tunnels are still there, but they've closed off all the entrances since then. But there's tunnels that right underneath, it starts underneath the Green Mill. It goes out to Broadway, Lawrence Avenue, different ways. And there's different, and you
Whoa.
just come up on the streets in different areas of the city.
How is that? Joe, you've lived in Chicago for years. How's that area where Al lives now? Is it a good neighborhood?
Oh yeah. See, I grew up at Southport and Belmont, which is right outside of, it's called Lakeview area. Then you got Wrigley Field area, which is Clark and Addison. Those in the 60s and 70s were very bad neighborhoods. It was nothing but
Wow.
drugs, heroin, prostitution, pimps, and a lot of gangs like the Latin Kings, the Simon City Royals, all the street gangs that were there. And then you had the small little bars on the side, because they had a lot of side street saloons on the side streets. Like at a corner of School Street and Levitt, there was a bar there. It was just a lot of those places. That's where a lot of those wise guys would be at. They would have the gambling. People go there and they could, put their bets into bookmakers. But it was bad. Now it's through the roof. Now Wrigley Field it went up. You can't touch nothing in there for probably $2 million property wise. Now my grandfather, there was another part of Chicago that was down a little bit north. It was a Webster Avenue, which is by Armitage and Sheffield. Now that was supposed to be an up and coming neighborhood. My grandfather owned 2 rental property buildings that had like 4 or 5 apartments. And
Wow.
my grandmother hated it because it was in a bad neighborhood. He was always have to evict people because they didn't pay the rent. But my grandfather, he believed that those properties were going to be worth some money one day. Well, she drove him nuts, my grandmother, to sell them. He sold them dirt cheap. After he died in 1980, about 1988, the person he sold it to, they came in to revamp the whole neighborhood, and they cashed out for millions, just like my grandfather thought it would. He was long dead. He never got his gold.
Wow.
But he knew that area was, because he was a Chicago cop. He was from the city. He was in those areas. He knew.
Well, he knew it was money because that's the thing. Like, real estate's usually always money. Am I right or wrong?
My grandfather said, buy land. I was 14 when he passed away, and that's what probably would have been the difference of me being what I went through in my life, because he was a great grandfather. My father was terrible. My grandfather taught me all the values of.
Because like Joe, it's funny. My grandmother always said to me when I was a kid growing up, "Buy land. You'll always."
God's
make
not
money."
making no more. He used to tell me, God's not making no more land. Buy as much land as you could buy.
I wish I had money for land.
I had Mike. Listen. I've lived a very, very difficult life that I brought upon myself. I've been involved with things. I've been to prison. I've done my share of wrong, and I've had so many opportunities in my life where I was blessed that I was making good money, and I never took the opportunity when someone presented to me to invest anything for my future. I just always wanted to get by because of all the things that I was doing.
Me too. I always lived for the then. I lived for then, not the future, which is horrible.
Yeah. Now, Mike, I know most people, everybody knows who Mike Breschetti is. So right now, the show is Honor and Broad. Joey C and Mikey B is what we named ourselves. I thought it had a good tune to it. I hope you like the backgrounds. We got the studio set up professional. But Mikey, what was I going to ask you? I lost my chain of thought here.
You know what's really crazy? You'll love this, right? You probably know this already. Some people do. Al Capone's son was a good childhood friend of Desi Arnaz.
Desi Arnaz, yep.
Right? But you know what's really crazy? Okay, when they produced the TV show The Untouchables,
yes,
right?
You talk about the TV series one.
Yeah, his wife May was pissed,
Yeah.
and so was some real gangsters because they super exaggerated with things Al did,
Yeah.
and they wanted to sue him. And she was mad at him because Desi was like, but and they were so mad at Desi, they were going to put a hit on him, I think.
Wow. Later on down as we get the show rolling, I was doing some research last night on Benjamin Bugsy Siegel.
Oh, well.
And after 50 years, they're starting to let more of the FBI redact files out on him. And there's possibility. I don't know if this is true, but I'm watching. I was watching some stuff yesterday, and I was just preparing for stuff for later on when we do another show because I know we want to do El Capone this time. Today we're doing El Capone on the 15th. We haven't decided yet what we're going to do, but there's a possibility he was a spy because he had all his money in offshore accounts, and they're saying that in the FBI files that he possibly could have been a spy against our country, and that's why he was one of the reasons he got killed. It wasn't just a mob involved in his killing; that it was also the police and
I don't doubt anything because
so I don't know if that's true or not. I have to do more investigating on that.
You never know with anything because
right.
I mean that reminds me because I found out some more information about the St. Valentine's Day massacre. Right?
Okay, we're going to cover that today too.
Because here's what I seen. I seen the documentary. It's so funny. I'm just looking online. Okay, when the massacre happened, right? Lucky Luciano in New York knew there was way more behind it.
Yeah.
He said to the other gangsters, he goes, Al just didn't do this to kill his enemies. He said this as a warning. And I'm like, warning? I'm like, because first of all, this is back in 1929, right?
Right.
They were going to make the commission of the mob. At that time, they planned on it, right?
Right.
Al hated it. He had nothing to do with it. He was like, because he thought they would overthrow him, take him over.
Right.
I mean, he was so used to being
he was against the five families doing that, but the commission was built for all the mob throughout the United States, not just New York.
I mean, Al was a businessman, but he was more of a used force a little more than the other. I mean, so did the other guys, but the thing is, they wanted to be more like a corporation,
right?
Like
the
Coca-Cola
Lansky is the one that injected all that stuff.
And they actually had a meeting in all places, Atlantic City, a couple of years before the commission. They got in a big heated argument.
Right.
What he called him and Luciano and Capone.
Yeah.
And of all people, Meyer Lansky was the mediator.
Right.
He chilled them out. So they convinced Al. But the bottom line is, they didn't trust Al's opinion. And anyway.
Which is not common because they were in New York and he was Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's common,
But what wound up happening was Al wound up going away for tax evasion.
Correct.
And the commission started after that. So he had nothing to say anymore after that.
Did you know the judge went against the recommendation of the deal he had to play? He wasn't supposed to go for 11 years. He was only supposed to go for I think 2 years for tax evasion. His brother Ralph was already in prison doing 3 years for tax evasion at the time.
Well, I didn't know that because the thing what do you call it? What happened? Why did they throw the book at Al?
The judge, when it came time to sentencing, the deal was in place. This is something I just researched yesterday, and it said that the judge said no way he was accepting the deal, and he was sentenced to 11 years, which we know that he went to Atlanta. In Atlanta, Al Capone got beat up really bad in Atlanta.
Somebody went after him with a scissor.
Yeah, someone got him real good in Atlanta, and then they put him over into Alcatraz, where he spent so much time there. He had an 11-year sentence. They wind up sending him home in 1939, I believe.
Yeah.
He was sentenced in 32 or 33. So he did about 5.5, 6 years and went home to his Miami house where he was already gone. His mind was syphilis and all that stuff.
He had his brain of a 12-year-old kid by the time he was dead.
Syphilis had started eating his brain and he was gone.
Joe, I don't know why. How could they get their hands on him in Atlanta? You know what I mean? It's like, I thought it was a death sentence putting your hands on Al.
Well, from what I understand, John Gotti got attacked too in prison too.
It's crazy, right?
Well, you get these guys. You see, when you go in there and your guys are already doing life. First of all, the first thing, and this is just from experience, it doesn't matter if you're in a maximum, a medium, a low, or a camp. The first thing every prisoner does when a new guy walks through the door, they size him up. They're sizing you up to see what you're about. They want to see, who's this guy? How does he walk in here? What's his attitude? So they size you up because you're coming into their territory. They're the ones that have been running that stuff. So I think that there was a lot of guys that resented Al because he was such a big gangster, and now they want to see how tough the big gangster boss was. So you're going to have guys who are going to size him up. And who knows? Al was already sick with the syphilis.
Oh yeah.
They could have jumped him. They could have grabbed him in the corridor and jumped him. Back in those days.
No, he wasn't the Al Capone of 1925 at that time. No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, because he was about 30, I think 31 when he went into prison, wasn't he?
Yeah, but like you said, he wasn't the same Al in his 20s.
No, he wasn't the same Al. That's right. So look, I'm gonna play some super chats right now, Mike. See if we got a super tip. We're gonna go in. We're gonna start talking. Show this thing first. Clip I got for you. I got some clips for you about Al Capone. So let me put these up on the board. This is from Tio Hanks. This is for you, Mike. Oh no, Tio Hanks says, "Thank you for the $5, Tio Hanks." Big Paul Castellano just tweeted, said, Mike's from Kentucky.
Yeah, I sound like I'm from Alabama there, buddy. But thank you, Tio.
Thank you, Tio.
Yeah, I am from Alabama, son.
This is also from Tio Hanks. Mike, what did you have for dinner?
Oh, I haven't eaten yet. I'm not eating until after the show because I don't like to eat before I do things like this.
That's great. That's great. Then we got this one from, I believe it's from Mustafa is that say HHJ33? Mike, Joey, and I married in prison.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's my prison wife, Mike. Yeah, that's my prison wife. Big Dub has just become a YouTube Catalano TV member. Thank you, Big Dub. Thank you for signing up. We got this is just 218. Thank you for downloading. Salute to you guys. I told Mike I sent a super chat. Thank you. Just someone you know, Mike.
What do you call it? He sent me a message earlier. He signed up on what do you call it? Instagram.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that, guys.
Thank you, Justin.
And we'll converse. We'll converse with some of the chat. Like it's our first show, and
I like this show because you know what? Our chat people aren't that obnoxious so far.
No, wait, Mike. I'm going to tell you right now. You know Stuttering John real well, like I do. Now he's the most hated guy on the internet, right? I'm the second most hated guy on the internet, so they troll me worse than Stuttering John. So just be prepared. They're going to say a lot of nasty things to both of us. You know, the fact that you're here with me, but you know what? It's their right. It's their chat room. I've come a long way from being. Mike, I used to sit here and I banned one night. I banned 300 people out of my chat. I had nobody in the chat room. That's how mad they made me. But I've grown from that. I've grown from all that.
The good things Al did, right?
Yes, we're going to show that too.
Definitely.
Al Capone, believe it or not, people, and we're not trying to say that he was a saint and he was a priest, but Al Capone did do a lot of good for the community, and we're gonna show you some of that stuff. But let me just check on the super tips to see if we got these. So, Mike, I got a present for you. Don't take this personal. I was goofing around with the super tips to walk you, and I made a super tip for you, and I'm gonna play this. This is me talking, you talking, because I put Mike up, everybody. Mike has his own super tip voice now.
Oh, thank you.
We mastered it yesterday, and so let me get here. I got to get to just hit my eyeball. Okay, that should come on. Okay, so Mike, this is it. Let me see right here. Okay. We got an anonymous one. We got one from somebody else. So let me play this one. This just came in.
True story. The mob used to call Mike's mother the Stink Trench because of the smell when they collectively plowed her up the ass.
Oh, boy. That's not nice, whoever sent that.
You know what? I've been got other stuff.
But they didn't. I had it blocked, Mike, so I'm not trying to replay this.
That's all right.
I have to go back in and play this because they couldn't see it. Here we go.
True story. The mob used to call Mike's mother the Stink Trench because of the smell when they collectively plowed her up the ass.
That was Patrick Melton's voice, and it came from Anonymous. That was, thank you for the 534. Be nice now. I mean, but that's okay. If Mike didn't get on you, Mike will come and get you. I promise you that.
The world is loaded with dickweeds, and he's one of them.
That's right. Now, this is the one I made for you, Mike.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Mike. I'm just testing the new Bocchetti super tip voice. You've been in comedy so long, your punchlines need a nap. Every joke sounds like you're asking permission. And I ramble, sure. But at least people know I'm building to something.
And
coming from a guy who takes scenic routes to nowhere. You don't ramble for style, Joey. You ramble hoping comedy shows up. I know where punchlines live. You just yell until one wanders in, trips over the mic stand, and accidentally saves you, which honestly happens more than you think.
I don't get comedy, but I know this. Joey talks too much. Mike looks confused. And somehow I'm still laughing. So one of you must be funny. And I'm guessing it's me for noticing. Also, I think jokes are better when people yell. That's right, my nigga.
that was my welcome to you to the family.
Thank
and,
you.
and
because
to the Super.
I love
Tip,
it.
right?
Thank you. Because
All right.
Joe, you
All
know
right,
what
so,
I heard in also in real life, and a couple of things in the movie Untouchables, right?
yes.
Okay, at the end of the Untouchables, remember when Al Freak started fighting with people yelling when he
Yes.
after the verdict, right? I heard in real life, he didn't even carry on like that. He just
No,
took the
he
sentence
didn't.
like a man.
He didn't. He
The
didn't. and then
movies
he-
made
and
him
he-
like
he-
scream and yell.
Yeah, well, Hollywood of course, they add so much to those.
He took his punishment. I picture him taking his punishment like a man and not being a
Yeah.
jerk.
El was no schloss. He was a tough guy. I mean, he.
Oh yeah, I mean, he and the thing is, like, about his brothers, they were mobbed up too.
Yeah. Well, his brother Ralph. But did you know we're going to talk about this today? Did you know that one of his brothers left the family?
Oh, yeah.
At a young age, and became a police officer.
His
in
brother
somewhere,
Richard.
I think in Kansas somewhere. He was a sheriff of a
Yep,
small
his
town.
brother Richard. He changed his name to Richard. What do you call
Richard
it?
Smith or something.
No, Richard. What do you call it?
I have it right here. Hang on, let me find it. The famous. Let me see. I have it right here. Hang on.
Oh, Hart.
Hart. Richard Hart. That's right. It was Hart. That's right. Hart.
And you know what he was? He was an Indian agent for the reservations and
Yes.
a FBI. You know, for the
He
Al's
protected
thing.
the land of the Indians. He was like he was like I don't know what his exact title was, but then he became someone offered him to become a sheriff in the town that he went to, and then he was getting shipments of alcohol were coming through his town, and he was stopping them. And Al Capone had no idea because they thought his brother was dead. You know, they didn't
Oh
know
yeah, his brother ran away as a kid.
right. He ran away because he got in trouble, and he didn't want to. He was so worried about getting Al and his other brothers in trouble. He just left. Thought he was buried. He was the closest of the boys to the father. His father, he was like a
Oh, he
saint
was
to the
like
father.
his father's
He was the
favorite.
father's favorite.
Yes.
So he left the family, made a sacrifice because he didn't want his brothers to get in trouble.
No,
So
he
figured
ran
if
away and like
Yes.
and the thing is, I wonder. I mean, Al could be brutal at times, but I don't think Joey he ever would ever went after his own flesh and blood.
No, he when he found out it was his brother because I agree with that. I could say something, Mike. I thought I lost you there for a minute.
I don't think he would ever had his brother taken out.
No, I don't believe that. Well, when the shipments were getting taken, he sent a guy out there to go talk make a payoff to the sheriff. And then when the guy showed up there, he saw it was Al Capone's brother. So he talked him to go back to see Al in Chicago. And Al was first of all ecstatic to see his brother because he had a lot of respect for him. But then he thought his brother was just going to drop everything and come back and work for him. And
Of
he
course.
refused to. And him and his brother's last words were, "If you break the law in my town, I'm going to arrest you." He told his brother, and Al told him, "Then you better watch your back, because I'm not going to let nobody arrest me." And they never spoke again.
Wow.
But he went to see his brother in Florida when he was released, when his mind was gone, to say goodbye to his brother. And his brother did remember him.
Wow.
He had a lot of respect for his brother, but they did become. Once they reunited, it didn't last long because he didn't want to come work for Al. He didn't believe in being a gangster.
He already was law enforcement.
And
you
he
know
was
what I
in
mean?
law
It's
enforcement.
like-
He was married. He had a family. And Al told him, then if you're gonna go against me, then just you watch your back too. But like you said, I don't believe he would ever killed his brother.
No,
I don't
he would
believe
never
that.
murder his family and that's the thing, because like, I mean, Al was brutal, but you know what made him even more brutal? When they killed his older brother, Sal, whose real name was, he went by Sal, but his name was John, I think.
Correct.
Here's what happened. I think supposedly he got in a gun battle with police, right?
Yes.
Now, there's a couple different versions of it. The police version is he pulled the gun and then started firing, right?
Yes.
Other witnesses' version to Al's brother never pulled out a gun; they just murdered him. And I think
That's right.
that it made Al meaner and more like quiet. You know what I mean? Quiet. You know what I
Yes.
mean? More quieter. But like it definitely affected his brother's being murdered by the cops.
Yes. And what you were saying earlier, his brother that became a cop was James Vincenzo Capone, his birth name. He was born in 1892, died in 1940, who renamed himself Richard James Two Gun Hart because he was
Whoa.
such a great marksman as a gun. And he ran away from home in Brooklyn, changed his name, and worked as a prohibition agent. He was a prohibition agent. That's why he was busted the shipments. that were coming through that El was trying to get through it in the different towns that he was applying the booze for. He changed his name and worked as, like I said, probation agent, federal agent in Nebraska. That's right, it was Nebraska. Famously fighting against the very alcohol trade his brother ran. So that was his career. They called him Two Gun Heart because when he was a hell of a shot. They said he could.
Joe, see, I don't know the Midwest well, but is Nebraska close to Chicago at all?
Yeah, Nebraska. You got Nebraska. You got Iowa, and then you go into Illinois. If you're going up 80, I believe 80, you go Illinois, Iowa, and then in Nebraska. Nebraska is right on the border. It borders Iowa. I'm not sure the town of Iowa where all the casinos are. Iowa has 4 or 5 casinos as soon as you cross out of Omaha, Nebraska. Omaha's right on the line.
Well,
I worked in Omaha in 2008 with the baseball. So you got Omaha,
close to
you cross
Missouri?
over to the Iowa side, and you got the casinos, all the casinos right there.
Is Missouri close to you guys too?
Missouri also. You could go in from Illinois to Missouri as well.
I
If
know,
you're going
the
up 55
Midwest is
south. Missouri
huge.
south.
I mean, I'm not sure of all the states, but you got a whole bunch of them there.
Well, you got like I said, you got Iowa borders it, and you got Indiana, Iowa. Indiana borders Iowa. You got Missouri that borders it. I'm trying to think of the other.
Wisconsin's close.
Wisconsin borders it as well. If you're going west, northwest, you got Wisconsin, and then, like I said, the Wisconsin's there, and then then you got Missouri, which is the south end of and then you got Kentucky on the far end going in from 57 south, and then you go east on 24, and you enter into Kentucky, you can enter into Indiana, you can enter into Iowa, you could enter into Missouri, and those are all connecting states around there.
Oh, you want to hear something really funny? Remember the other day we were talking about nobody knew what Al Capone's voice sounded like?
Yes,
There's no tape
yes.
of him?
They said there's been no footage of him ever speaking. They have none of it.
Well, listen to this, right? That documentary I seen about Luciano, before he went to Atlantic City.
Yes.
In this documentary, it said Al was cursing Luciano and everybody else in a heavy-duty Chicago accent.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So I was shocked because, he must have picked it up real fast because he lived in New York for a bunch of years and Chicago, but he probably just picked it up fast.
Yes. All right, we're going to go ahead. Mike, I got a little video I want to show you. And this is one of the things that you asked me that you wanted to, because your whole idea was, I don't want to sit here and trash them. They were beat up enough. They were gangsters. They were businessmen first. But yes, they had a mean side to them where they had to take care of business. But Al Capone did a lot of great things for Chicago that I don't think a lot of people know. And I can tell you, this is one of the things he did, was very successful. And it wasn't just an order, but Al Capone, I'm going to get this up here, Mike, and I'm going to put this up here. Hang on, Mike, hang on. What did I do wrong here? Oh, I know what I did wrong, Mike. Sorry, hang on. Uh-oh, I got to go here. He told me I'd make one mistake here. All right, so I'm going to go here, and I want to go, I got to go here. That's why. I got to go click on the video thing. All right, here we go, Mike. Now, this is the shared screen. There we go. Okay, I did it right now. Excuse me, Mike. I got to... Yeah, hang on. I got to get my wife the car key. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know what I do with him. Do you see him anywhere? No. Sorry, people. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
There you go. Thank you. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, no problem. Yeah. She said she was sorry, Mike. She didn't mean to interrupt her.
Oh, no worries.
All right, so this is Al Capone, famous Al Capone Soup Kitchen. Believe it or not, Al Capone opened soup kitchens on State Street. And Al Capone was a full-fledged soup kitchen, Mike.
Well,
did you know that he served at breakfast there? They got a donut and coffee, fresh coffee and donut in the morning, and soup and bread in the afternoon for dinner. They said it cost him about $350 a day to run this facility.
Well,
he didn't ask for
that's
nothing. You didn't have to have an ID. Anybody that was hungry, homeless, or anybody that wanted to go for that was hungry were allowed to go through that door.
that's like thousands and thousands of dollars today.
Correct. Now he made $60 million a year, but he only spent $350 a day. Now a lot of people question it to say, and it was run first class. I mean, L was there himself. He served in the soup line.
Absolutely, he did because, like you said, people question him now, morons.
Yes, and of course the press went after. They thought it was a publicity stunt because at the time he was being investigated. So they thought he might have been doing a publicity hosting to show the good side of himself to get out of trouble. Listen, it doesn't matter. Yes, Al Capone was a notorious gangster. Yes, Al Capone was a businessman who took advantage of Prohibition. Prohibition was around for about 11 years. Do you know that I learned yesterday? Prohibition was started as a trial. This is what the government's theory was. The government thought by taking away the alcohol, it would bring families closer with their kids, with their husbands and wives. It'll bring America better, and it would save money. It would just do a lot of good. It backfired on the government
It backfired in a heartbeat.
They were trying to bring crime down. This was let's say it was the first really crime bill that they wanted to bring crime down in America. All right, so they came up with this idea. Let's get prohibition. This is facts. I read this last night, and the government thought it would lower crime. It would put families closer with their kids and their wives, but it backfired because it made more. It took. Not only did the gangsters take advantage of it, it made good people that were out of work because of the people lost their jobs when they took the booze away. Bars closed down, everything. So people lost their jobs, so they had to make ends meet. So they went to work for the gangsters, and they became corrupt just like them. We're talking good citizens that never were in trouble were forced to go work now because of what the government did by making prohibition and cost them to lose jobs. So now they turned all the good people into evil people. So it backfired. It's kind of like
It hit them right in the butt because, like,
yeah, of course.
And the thing is, okay, the negativity part of it was people like, oh, he did that for publicity, right?
Right.
We don't know what's in Al's heart, in his head,
Right.
but you know what? The bottom line was tons of people that were starving got to eat
That's right.
that never would have.
And it wasn't just you pop in and you had to give you an ID. He served breakfast. He gave him a nice donut, a hot cup of coffee. They came back in the evening. They got a great bowl of soup with
And he
bread.
gave them their dignity. That's the important thing.
That's right. Now here's the picture of people in line going. It was on State Street. This is State Street, and all the people in line going to the soup kitchen. It says the famous Capone Soup Kitchen. A lot has been said by many people about this subject. Was Al Capone was a real benefactor, or was Capone just using the needy for his own self-publicity? Let's take a look at the facts on how and why this soup kitchen came to be, even with words from Capone's own mouth. Now, they're claiming from his own mouth. I don't know if it's a written statement that he said to the press. I'm assuming this article right here is Al Capone's own words. This is an actual article. It says Capone was known to help out. The reason being probably most than not to atone for the bad things he did. We all do this to make ourselves feel better or look good in the eyes of others. This is especially true whenever our reputations is been besmirched for some reason. Anyone high on their own horse will say Capone was just a self-serving bastard. These are what the politicians would say. The police,
Of course. And they weren't corrupt.
but they said before you do that and judge Al Capone. This is basically what you're saying. Before you do that, meaning before you. They wanted to show what Al Capone did. Not many people do things without any ulterior motives. For example, take a look at the people who went after Capone. They went after him not just to appease the public, but also to advance themselves for better jobs. That's true.
Of
They
course,
wanted to
because like
absolutely.
Joey, I don't even know. I mean, things have been so fabricated in movies and books and bullcrap and Hollywood stuff. I don't even know if that Al Capone even met Elliot Ness in real life.
Good point. Do you know they only met one time when Al was being transported from the county jail, Cook County Jail, and he was part of the train. And Elliot Ness was the one guy that was in the car that was the only time he ever met. They never met each other. Never had confrontation on the street like the movie said. They met the very first time when Al was being transported to the Atlanta prison, and he was on his way to the airport to get on the federal plane. Elliot Ness was part of that crew that made sure he got on that plane.
And
he went all the way through to Atlanta with him.
In the movies, and like the Untouchables, it was like he was close to him. He was chasing him
Right.
with an axe. You know,
All Hollywood, the movie. All Hollywood.
Because
It's a shame.
I mean, I love the movie The Untouchables. Right?
Yeah, it was, of course, Robert De Niro's in there. You got Kevin Costner. It was a great movie, no doubt about that.
Well, what do you think? Like when the barber cut him by mistake, right? That guy was terrified.
Yeah.
And I don't think Al would shoot somebody for cutting him on accident.
No. In the barbershop when you get but I'm just saying, they also said that now this really happened in New York, but I think they used this. Didn't what's his name? Not Frank Costello, but what was the other guy? Frank, that was the boss. Vito Genovese. Now, Vito Genovese actually did murder somebody's husband because he wanted the wife.
Oh yeah.
That was a true part. Well, in the movie, there's a movie that came out by Al Capone that Al murdered an ordinary citizen that was a good man. His wife was she was just a mystery. At nighttime, she worked at a one of those freaky clubs. Her husband
God.
had no knowledge. She was a freak, and she had a girlfriend also, and she liked to do threesomes, and I guess L was involved with her and some other gangsters, but they said in the movie that Al Capone also killed her husband, who was a civilian, just to have her. I don't see any proof.
No,
of that,
I don't think he was that kind of guy, really.
No.
Because
I'm not. I believe he probably slept with her and was seeing her because that's
Of
what she was.
course.
She was just she would always tell her because she was very mob hooked up because of the club that she worked at, and she would tell him how her husband was an ordinary goofball. She didn't like him. He was terrible in bed. All that stuff that he didn't fulfill her. But he was a nice guy that provided for her, gave her a good home, and he had a hobby. He'd go on the roof and he'd take care of his pipigeons.
wow.
He had pigeons because back in those days people would have pigeon coops on the roof.
Oh, definitely. I remember that.
And he was taking care of pigeons, and the rumors that in the movie Al Capone sent his goons to kill him because he wanted to be with her.
Well-
I don't find no facts on that. So
Joe, out of all the movies, right, that were made about Capone, right?
yeah,
Who do you think played the best Al Capone?
Rob Steiger,
That was awesome.
the old one, the black and white one. Rob Steiger played a hell of an Al Capone.
That's what I thought too. Because what about the St. Valentine's Day Massacre one? That was kind of okay.
That was good too. Yeah, and the St. Valentine's Massacre, that was probably the end of the start of his demise when that happened. That was probably one. Even though he went, from what I understand, he was so enraged about Bugs Moran and the
yeah.
Irish gang that this is what put him to be in the spotlight. That after that St. Valentine's Day Massacre, I believe it was his demise for him to go down. That they were determined if they couldn't get him being a gangster and a murderer, that they did whatever they could, and they brought in the IRS, the agents, to said, and when they found the book, he's not paying no taxes. We got him, and they had to prove that, and they did. Now, I'm assuming this little newspaper article is Al Capone's words. It says, Capone backing Soup Kitchen's paper report. Chicago, November 14th. I can't see the date. I'm assuming it's probably 19 in the 20s. The unidentified philanthropist who has opened a large free soup kitchen for unemployed who was named by the Chicago Evening Post today as the notorious gang leader Scarface Al Capone. Through sources close to the underworld, Cesar, the Post says has verified the fact that Capone was with some help from friends financed the kitchen and served about 1,100 men daily.
Whoa.
Now, this is the Miami News Record, November 14th. This was a Miami newspaper. No, it's November 14th, 1930. This is the actual copy of that. It says, true, Capone was a gangster, a killer. He had to be to climb up the rungs of the criminal ladder. Johnny Torrio, while very smart, could not stomach the violence. Capone, which is true, Johnny Torrio, he was a businessman. He wasn't a gangster.
He was more like a corporate kind of guy.
Correct. And Al Capone was his pit bull. Not stomach the violence. Capone could overcome the obstacle very, very easily. Now that we have established by that, he was indeed a bona fide criminal. There's no doubt. I'm not questioning that he wasn't. He committed crimes. There's no doubt
Of
about
course,
that.
because-
But was he the worst of the worst like they made him out to be? I don't think none of those gangsters in that era were the worst of the worst.
What I've heard and watched and heard and watched tons of documentaries about him.
Yes.
Some of the guys in the life in the mob were Mad Hatters. Definitely
Mad
not
Hatters,
taking
right.
people out. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, we had a few of them in the Chicago outfit. We'll probably do a show on him a couple weeks down the road.
I don't think, but according to what I heard about him, Al said he did not like killing people unless he was backed in the corner. It was absolutely necessary, and he only went after the people who tried to assassinate him.
Correct. No boss no boss, no capo, no underboss wanted to kill as a first thing. They all wanted to use that as first of all, anybody that was a mad killer, like Joey Gallo, who was a crazy
Oh,
killer.
they got taken out very
Gas
easy,
pipe.
quick.
Those guys got taken out. They didn't last long in the business because
No.
they were cowboys. The old timers, they called them the old mustache Pete's. They were smart. They used that as a last resort. They would go and they would talk with you. Yeah, now, if the guy wasn't getting the message after the first or second visit, maybe they tuned him up and broke his hand, and broke his nose, or broke his kneecaps. But they didn't. If the guy was a normal good payer, but let's say he lost his job, but they knew he paid on time when he worked, they would cut those guys' legs and say, listen, when you get your job, you come back and start.
Of course.
They didn't just go kill those people. They respected. This guy did pay us for 3 years. You know?
Absolutely, because Al knew there was no money off a dead man.
That's right. If a guy's paying and he loses his job, you got to cut him some slack. Give him a job then. You give him a job and he'll start paying you. Now, this is just one of many things Al Capone did. It says so does his charity work? Capone did think that was win-win for everybody, or at least for as many people who could have profit.
Well,
from it.
1,100 people a day, Jim. Imagine
That's
that.
a lot of people, you know. And it was, and he served. I mean, it goes on and on. The original soup kitchen idea really had nothing to do with Capone. The idea was related through thought up by Daniel Saratella, who later suggested it to Capone on November 2nd, 1930. There was a gathering at Nick Saracello's apartment in Berwyn, which is right outside of Cicero, Illinois, where Capone, he had lamb to Cicero. Cicero was right over the Chicago line. He hid in Cicero when the mayor was coming after him, so he moved all his operations to Cicero, and that's where he had his brothel / casino, and he operated from Cicero, which is so close to the border of Chicago. You walk across the street and you're in Chicago, and Cicero was notorious for the Italian mob as one of their big heads.
Joey, how is Cicero today?
It's still the great town for all bad. It's a lot of Latinos there, a lot of Latino gangs on Roosevelt Avenue. Before I left in the 1990s, and I came to Florida in 2000, but through the 1990s and part of 2000s, before the sheriff finally closed off, they still had the brothel bars up, and you go into the bar and they had most of those places were run by a lady. Dottie ran the one. I knew Dottie very well. She used to be an old prostitute back in the day, and she was a tough old broad, and they gave her this place on Roosevelt Road, and she ran that place because I worked there as a security. I did security for her when I was 22 years old. And I'll tell you, she brought me in. I needed a job. I wanted to make extra money, so I took the job because this is right before I lost my sheriff's job. So I went in. I'm a small guy. She looked at me. She's, I can't hire you. Too small. Nobody's going to be afraid of you. And I said to her, listen to me. I'll work tonight for free. Let me show you what I can do. If you don't think I can handle myself at tonight, she goes, there's no way. I got a rough guys here tonight. They do. I need someone more that's going to be big and you're going to walk up to them and put the fear of God on them. I go, don't worry, I'll put the fear of God on them.
It don't matter. People don't realize that, Joe.
So she said, I was persistent, and she goes, all right, I'll take that deal. So I went to work for free, and I was sitting there watching the door and watching the girls that nobody's grabbed. It was simple. Just do normal. You sit at the door, you watch. You had a flashlight. You had your fucking uniform on. I had a security uniform on. And she comes over and whispers. She goes, that guy just pulled his dick out at the table. We don't allow that here. What are you going to do about it? So she's testing me. She goes, you ain't going to do nothing. That's why I told you this doesn't work. I go, I got this, Miss Dottie. I went over to that guy's table. I says, and he pulled. So I was very firm when I go, pull that dick out again, and I'm gonna crack you in the fucking head with this fucking flashlight when I come back. So he goes, okay, I'm sorry. So another 20 minutes go by, he pulls it out again. I went over there without question. I cracked him in the back of the head with the flashlight. He went down, and I punched him in the face 2 times. At the end of the day, she paid me for that night and says, you got the job.
Well, but see, that's the thing, because, like, Joe, when it comes
Just because
to
I'm
fighting,
small, I told her, don't give me a chance. So you give me
people
that,
don't
give me that
realize,
chance.
Joe, when it comes to fighting, right, there was plenty of little guys that fucking stomp some big guys down.
Listen to me. I will never want to fight a little guy. I'd rather fight a bigger guy than a little guy. Little guys are scrappy. They can ping pong around you. Now, if a big guy gets a hold of you that's strong, it's all over for the little guy. He's going to break you in two. But little guys can bounce around. Little guys know where to crack a big guy in the kneecaps. Go for his throat. But I had to prove myself. That was my one chance to prove myself, and I had to show her that I had it. Because she's like, I don't want someone that's going to reason with these guys. If you give them their first warning, you don't understand. We carry them out and put them out in the back in the alley. We dump them in the dumpster. This is what my guys do. So I don't think you're that ruthless. I said, just give me, I need this extra money. I said, I'm going to do what I got to do. And, it was fun working there. I only stayed there because the company I was with was called Illinois Plant Protection, which was ran by Frank Nicita, Frank Nicita lived in Melrose Park. Now, that was his company. My cousin, Joey McMillan, who was half Italian, half Irish, he worked for Frank and was good friends with Frank, brought me in because I was in a sheriff's academy, and he said, you want to make extra money? I got some security gigs. He goes, I could use you, give you some good work, making good money. So I was working for them, and they're the ones that told me, go meet Daddy. It was one of their accounts, and see if you could sell yourself there. Because when I found out the brothel I asked for the job. He goes, she'll never hire you. So I said, so they sent me to talk to her, and that's when I walked through the door. She said, what are they sending you? You're what, 5'6", 5'7", 5'8"? There's no way. There's too many fights here, too many assholes here. I need someone that's going to be strong, big, and going to get to the point. I said, just give me a chance. And I offered, and she took the deal, and I proved myself. She called my boss, Frank Nicita, and my cousin said, he's a firecracker, that little guy. He's not afraid of nothing. I wasn't. That was the thing. I wasn't afraid. I had a job to do. They're going to pay me. I'm going to do it. Whether it was,
Of course.
That's what I had to do. And they wound up having raids all throughout Cicero and Berwyn and closed most of those places, I think, in the 2000s. The Sheriff, not Elrod, not O'Grady, but Sheriff Flood, I think it was. Maybe it was Flood. Sheriff Flood. The guy was after O'Grady. I don't remember if it was the Polish guy or I can't remember who took over for O'Grady, but he went around and busted them all. So go ahead, Mike.
So Al's brother Ralph was in the mob as well for years, right?
Yes.
He died in like 1974 at 80 years old, right?
Yes.
How powerful do you think Ralph was next to Al?
How? I'm sorry. What did you say, Mike?
How much power do you think Ralph had?
Power? Well, he took over. He was briefly took over for a brief spot because here's the original four. You remember the original four that started with Al Capone?
I'm not really sure.
Frank Nitti,
Oh yeah.
Al Capone, Paul Rica, the waiter. They call him Paul the Waiter Rica, and a guy by the name a nobody by the name of Tony Joe Batters. You remember him?
They call him
Tony
Big
Accardo.
Tuna
It was
as well,
Tony
right?
Joe Batters Accardo. They called him Joe Batters because he would beat his opponent.
I heard him
That was
called
Tony
Big Tuna.
Accardo.
They ever call him Big Tuna?
Big Tuna was his name when he became boss, but his name was Joe Batters because he used to beat everybody with a baseball bat. Now,
Oh God.
Al
I'm saying-
Capone went to prison.
Was-
Frank Nitti went to prison, got out, and in the Al Capone movie, they showed Elliot Ness throwing him over the roof of the roof and landing.
Oh,
in the
that's
car.
bullshit,
That's
because-
fabricated. Frank Nitti was going to go back to prison. He didn't want to go, so he put a gun in his mouth and killed himself.
Absolutely. Because in that movie, right?
Yeah.
First of all, in The Untouchables, right? Frank didn't even look like Billy Drago in real
No,
life.
no.
You know what I mean, right? I mean, Billy Drago's character was scary.
Yep.
He made him kind of really offbeat.
Yeah.
Second of all, that guy character they played didn't make Nitti look too smart.
Yeah.
Nitti was a freaking brilliant guy. People didn't give him enough credit, really.
Yes. But Frank Nitti, he went the first time, and he had PTSD really bad, and he had OCD really bad. He couldn't be confined in a little cell, so it made him nuts. And he
God.
swore he'd never go back to prison. And when he had the falling out with all the other capos and stuff that were trying to make a move against Nitti, and they kind of basically said L went to prison. Why can't you go to prison as well? L did it for us. Why can't you go? And he was like, we're going to work this out. So he finally, the pressures, he killed himself.
Oh,
Paul
yeah.
Rica wound up going to prison for tax evasion. That left one guy left, Tony Accardo. Now, Tony watched three of his partners. All three were in prison for tax evasion. One killed himself. L died. L was dying of syphilis, and Paul went away for a long time. So Tony did the opposite. Do you know Tony Accardo had a 60-year career as the head of the Chicago outfit, never spent a night in jail, died peacefully as an old man at 80-something years old, 89 years old?
Because he was a true businessman, really.
He was just like Carlo Gambino, brilliant. He paid his taxes. He had a job. He was a liquor salesman. He didn't show people he was a gangster. He wasn't flashy. He took all the mistakes that his three partners made.
Oh, God,
He
yeah.
never came out of the house. He never was in the limelight. And he was feared. He was a feared man. But when the heat got on, he took himself out of the top position, retired, and he put in Sam Giancana, which we're going to talk about that in
Oh,
another
he
week.
was right. Because the thing about Nitty was, I heard that the bosses told him either take the rap, go to jail,
Right.
or we shelf you.
Right. That's exactly what happened. That's right. They were going against Nitty, and that's when at the meeting they said L went to prison, and they were all voting to take Nitty off of his power, and he knew that the feds had him. He was going to prison. His wife I think his wife just died. His wife had died.
Yeah,
was
he had
taking
a
care of
daughter,
his, son,
I
his
think.
adopted son, and he married. He proposed to a lady that was running one of his brothels, and it was a business arrangement at first because he said, he thought she was a good woman. He would be good for her son, and he picked her, and she agreed to marry him. And I guess they did fall in love down the road, but at first it was a business arrangement. She didn't. We don't even love each other, know each other. He goes, well, that could come later on. I'm not expecting you to sleep. He was a gentleman, they said that he was, but he couldn't take the pressure, so he killed himself. But Tony Accardo learned from all those mistakes and said he would never, ever make those same mistakes his three best friends made. He would
Wow.
never do that, and he never did.
Joe,
And
they
we're
said-
going to be talking about him probably in a couple of weeks, and he's unbelievable, Tony Accardo. I mean, unbelievable.
People said for years that Capone and Nitty were cousins. I
Yeah.
think they were just good friends. Who grew
They
up in
were
the
good friends. They weren't right
They-
out blood rated.
They weren't blood at all. No, right?
No, they weren't. So let me wrap this up. I think there's a couple of videos. There might be a video attached here. These are just pictures of Al Capone there.
Wow.
With people. I mean, I think it has a vegetable. It looks like a vegetable stand. Oh no, this is to help vets unemployed by an apple. You bought an apple, and Al put the money donated to the vets. Used
God,
profits
whoa.
of gambling to aid needy. He did. Al Capone paid strangers rents in the neighborhood. If he heard a family was being evicted and they were good people, had nothing to do with it, he went and paid up their rent. Did this on his own. He paid medical bills for the sick. People he didn't
Whoa.
even know.
And that's the thing. And he didn't want to make it a big thing.
No, he didn't. There's his soup kitchen. And these are just the little things about how successful it was and what he did.
I mean,
So-
I'm not saying, like you said, Joe, that he's a saint of all saints, but
Right.
everybody has their issues. But the thing is, the people who criticize him for things like this
Right.
would never do that themselves.
So my point is this, though, Mike. I know he was a gangster. We're not disputing that. We're not disputing that he was a businessman and he did commit crimes and he was a businessman and he tried to run it like a Fortune 500 company. But there was times he had to use force, and we know he did. But guys like him usually are greedy, selfish, and they don't share the wealth. Al Capone
yeah.
was not like that. He
No.
came from poor. His father and mother were good people. They weren't involved with no organized crime. His mother seamstress. His father was a successful
No,
barber.
they probably ran away from Italy to get away from it over there.
Right, that's probably true. So, I look at both. I look at the whole picture. Yes, Al Capone was a gangster. Yes, was he? But what was in today's society, the way society is with all the street. So let me tell you, street gangs, these wild street gangs, they just kill people for fun. They kill the Mexican cartel. They go in and they'll cut your baby's head off and leave you alive and make you watch. So these
Wow.
guys would never do something like that.
They
They
only
would
went
never
after.
harm a child. In
They
their
only took
neighborhood-
people out, Joe. They only took people out that were in their world, and
That's right.
that's it.
And they wouldn't let nobody come in the neighborhood to hurt kids, hurt the seniors. They gave to the communities, and everybody feared to come in. Nobody from the outside came in and did anything. And the neighbors no neighbors would talk to the police. They would close the door on the police. So nobody was turning him in because they saw the good. So was he a Robin Hood? Was he a Robin Hood in his day? I mean, he was the rich giving to the poor. I mean,
I know, because I wonder what it was like, Joe, when he was at the. It must have been really interesting when he was at the soup kitchen
yes.
talking to people. You know what I mean?
They said he would be. He sat in that soup line and he actually served the people the soup. Did it
I
many
bet
nights.
he was super charming. People probably loved him in the soup kitchen.
He wasn't. They said he was a charming guy. Now, this is him at some. I don't know if this is a sports event. Let me see if this is.
Oh, his son Sonny's there with him.
Yeah, you see Sonny with him right there.
Yeah, his son Sonny, right?
Now I don't know who this is behind him, but you see the arrow right there. Is
Oh God, Joe, you look at
that
all
one of
those.
his brothers?
Um,
Let me see what it
but
says.
Joe, look at all those tough guys with him.
Yeah, there's a lot of them there right there.
No, I'm Joe. Look at all. Don't he brought the scary guys with him and all that.
So he was. I mean, Al Capone was a great. As far as I'm concerned, yes, he was a gay. Here's the actual guy sitting inside the soup kitchen. It was nothing fancy, but I mean, here's this says Internal Revenue Service, Intelligence Division, Chicago, Illinois. church contributions. This is what he donated. In 1924, he gave over 5,000 to church. 1925, over 7,800. 26,
Wow.
he gave over 10,000. 15,000 and 27, 5,400. Police widows now this is it. Police officers that got killed in the line of duty. Al Capone donated every year to the fund for the widows.
Wow.
21,000, 58,000, 30,000. He put money in for the widows to have
So
something.
that's a ton of money, you know. Oh, in those
And
days.
that's but what gangster's going to do that? If
They
they were
never
one of these these hoodlum street guys. This guy was a gangster with class, and he knew how to put the image out there. Because they bashed him every day in the streets, in the newspapers. They tore him up. But when they started seeing this, they started saying, "Is he all that bad?" I'd rather have 100 Al Capones around than to have one guy that's reckless with just goes on the street, starts killing people for no reason.
Of course.
I really would personally. John Gotti made a statement. They said when he got life, is that the U.S. government is going to wish 20 years from now that there was a ton of John Gottis around. They're going to wish Italian Costa Nostra was here because the way the gangs are going to go and how they kill children and how they're going to wish that they were back in power, which I believe to be true because how many times did the government go to the mob and ask them to do them a favor? Charlie
of course,
Luciano
because,
went.
Joe, look at Lucky Luciano protected
What he did for the war.
During World War II, right?
We won because of what his intel, what he said to all the people in Italy. It was an advantage for us.
And they screwed him
What did
over.
they do to him?
They deported him after he did that.
They ported him because he had a charge. He was tainted. See, Charlie was tainted with a prostitution charge. He was a pimp. That was a no-no. And drugs. Pimp. It was a no-no to be involved in drugs. And Charlie was tainted with that, with heroin. He was a heroin smuggler. And that's one thing that you weren't supposed to get into. Now, Vito Genovese, he was all for that. That's where Frank Costello, because later on down the weeks when we do the Frank Costello, people don't know, Genovese and Costello grew up in the streets as kids together. Same with Charlie. They were all friends.
They just made a movie about them. What was it called?
Alta King.
Did you see it?
I just saw it just the other day, and I didn't care for it at all.
No, because it's kind of weird because they were playing two different
He
characters.
played Costello, and he played Vito Genovese.
It's horrible.
It was horrible. It was terrible. Definitely horrible. But it is true. Genovese took a whack at his best friend Costello because he threw him from his seat. He forced Frank to step down and retire. Genovese was more of a tough guy. Frank Costello was more of a guy that was reasoned because he grew up with Meyer Lansky and guys like that. Meyer Lansky was a straight businessman. Violence will be the last thing. And later on down the road, as we do progress with the show, we're going to be doing guys like Meyer Lansky. People are saying now it's coming out that maybe Meyer Lansky, that Benji Siegel was just a front guy the whole time, and that they were going to take him out. I don't believe one bit that Meyer and Benji were so close, like brothers, that they said that Meyer Lansky, for the next 50 years, he never questioned anybody, but he was very sad that he lost his friend.
I know, because, Joe, do you think with Meyer, right?
Uh-huh.
He died like in 1983, 84. He died.
83, I think it was, 83. In Holland, Florida. He used to walk his dog down A1A and go to the Jewish deli every day. He had a tongue sandwich down there. He put his little dog out there. He walked from his house on A1A. He died as an old man.
I was going to ask you, Rick, do you think he died penniless or multimillionaire?
I don't think he paid, because I'm going to show you at the end. I'm going to show you the top 50 rich, and he's like in the top 5 as one of the richest.
Well, they said with Al,
Huh?
when he died, they said when Al died,
He was,
that here's what happened, right? When he, got mentally ill and was
Yes.
sick, he wasn't capable to be the boss anymore, but the mob took care of him and paid him like $600 a week, which is crazy.
that day, $600 a week was a gold mine.
Oh, that was a lot of
gold
money
mine.
then. But what I'm saying is, like, they still took care of him, right? People said he died penniless.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I think there's money that was hidden someplace.
Yeah,
I can't
I don't believe
he
that.
died penniless, Joe.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Oh, I made my first error here. You see what I did, Mike? He told me I would
Offline,
do
right?
this. He told me I would do this. No, he said, I have to cut that. Go back to this screen, and then, Yeah, because we're going to show another thing. But
I don't think Al died penniless.
I don't believe. What he was out for 7 or 8 years in his mansion in Miami. If he was penniless, how did he live? How did he live for those 7 years? How did
I
he
know.
maintain where he lived? He
Well,
was
if
definitely
you-
not penniless.
Well, the mob gave him a shot, but the thing is, I mean, when he came out, he was like sadly had the mentality. It was like a 12-year-old kid. His mind, right?
Yes, that's
So
a
there was
fact.
No way in hell he was going to be where he was before.
I agree.
And I think
agree.
that Joe, I heard that he had not only like that, but he had like nightmares of killing people and stuff like that.
He did. Well, I got a friend of mine who was a leader in the Disciple organization in Chicago, and he ran the set at Rockwell Potomac. Now he's 2 years older than me. He came on stream with me, and he started out at 12 years old doing hits for the Disciples. Rose up in the ranks, and he became a boss in the organization. He would call me sometimes, and he breaks out in sweats today. It's very true. He said that you get haunted by the people you kill.
I'm sure they do.
He told me that to be a fact.
I don't think that anybody, well, unless you're like a Mad Hatter,
Yeah.
could turn it on and off like you're turning the faucet off.
Well, they're sociopaths, most of the guys. A mobster would go out, tell his family, I'll be back, I gotta go run to the office for a minute, go out and clip 2 guys, come back and eat a steak dinner like nothing happened. Those guys, that's what they did.
They just had no, they could kind of turn it on and turn it off.
They were sociopaths. They could definitely, and the truth is, most gangsters were great parents. They were good to their kids, their wives. They were great husbands
Al
and
loved
great
his son,
fathers.
Sonny.
They were really good at being a dad. And here's a guy that's going out killing every day, and goes home and he's a Joe Schmo. Joe Bonanno lived in a normal family, normal place in New York. Everybody thought he was a businessman that went in the city every day.
Unbelievable. They didn't know because he looked like he looked like a regular guy.
He did because those old timers didn't portray. They weren't fancy. They didn't do that. Joe Bonanno, they said the Bonanno family, out of all the 5 families, they were the last family to have a rat, a turncoat that would rat on them. But when they got the rats, they had 10 of them. But they didn't get it into the late '90s, early 2000s when they flipped the first boss over there. But they were the most solidest group out of all of them.
That's
All
the
the other
thing.
families had rats.
I was going to ask you, Joe. Right, back in Al Capone's day, right? There was no such thing as the witness protection program.
It started the witness protection program started in I believe I just saw this the other day. I believe it started in 1899. I believe.
Oh, really?
I believe
So-
it because I was watching an interview yesterday. Matt Cox was interviewing a former Secret Service guy, and he was talking about that witness protection program, WITSAC.
I didn't think that, in
Could be
those
wrong
days,
though. Maybe
they didn't go against it. There were no rat. Well, the problem, there were always rat things, but they got taken out. But the thing is, not like now.
right. Did you know that when you went there was 2 places they went to. They said 6 months in some way out. They got a couple of federal prisons that are just for people that are rats. That's all that's in the prison. So they take them for the first 6 months of their training to get them to become new people in society. So the first 6 months they're in an actual regular prison, but it's all people that have turned on people. So there's
God.
nobody in there but those type of prisoners. And they go through some training program. And then the next 6 months they go to another place where this is the second phase is where they get the new identity and they're getting them ready for society, how to act, learn their new identity, forget about their old life. The WITSAC program started, it was established. So he was talking about, he was talking about the Secret Service started in 18-something. And the WITSAC program started in 1970. 1970 was the first year.
Okay, because
Yeah.
in those days, if you wanted to go against Al, they probably just hid you somewhere.
Yeah, there was really, unless the Chicago police, which were all on Al's payroll anyhow.
Oh, of course, because they would have turned you over anyway. Because
They would have. They put their hands in because of the money that he was given. He was playing that ledger he had that they got from the accountant. It had pages of judges, corrupt aldermen, corrupt councilmen, corrupt cops. Everybody was on in that book.
That's what I was going to ask you. Right, when they, it's interesting you said that. I think you definitely know the answer to this more than me because when he went away to tax evasion, right? All the ledgers you were just talking about.
Yeah.
How many other people took a fall besides Al?
I don't. That's a good question. I know they went after Al Capone went. They went after Frank Nitti. So they went. They did go after these guys, but they went after one. Like Frank Nitti was next.
Oh no, I'm saying like judges and
Oh, they did. There
cops.
was a lot of corruption that got stopped because of that book.
I was a lot of fallout. I'm sure.
A lot of cops were fired, and maybe a lot of them were just resigned and were weren't prosecuted. Some judges were probably in those days. Chicago is a very forgiving place. Though they would just tell you resign or be prosecuted, and you're done.
Joe,
here.
how do you miss Chicago?
I miss the food. I don't miss the cold. But
I went there back in 2001 for the Chicago Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
We would buy what do you call it? Where Second City is in Chicago.
Right, Second City. Yep. Where all the comedians come out of. Yep.
I like Joe. I love the food. I had great Italian food.
Yes.
Pizza, Italian hot dog. I'm like, whoa.
I don't know. People argue, Mike. I've had New York pizza and I've had Chicago, and I'm telling you, it's not because I'm in Chicago. New York pizza's outstanding, but I think Chicago takes them in the pizza. But there's a big argument about that.
I loved it, Joe, because you know why? There's nothing like deep dish.
Deep dish is the best. That's right. And they're also famous for the Chicago hot dogs and the Italian sausage.
That hot dog snapped when I ate it. I was like, whoa.
The hot dog, the Chicago hot dog it's got green relish, onion, it's got salt and pepper, tomatoes, and sports hot peppers on top with a pickle, with the pickle on there, and mustard or ketchup. No ketchup, mustard.
That's what I was going to ask you. I forgot if you knew him. Did you ever listen to the Artie Lang show when I was on there?
I have in the past. I liked Artie a lot, so I was a big Howard Stern guy. So I have watched some. It's been a while, but since you came over and we decided to do this after Kevin introduced it. I've been watching a lot of stuff of yours all week. So
did you? I thought you might have known Dan's on there, Dan Filato.
I didn't know. I don't remember seeing that episode.
Well, he was on the show as a producer.
Right.
He was working radio for years. He was from Chicago. I thought you might have known him.
Now you were basically your job with Artie, if I read this correctly, you were basically the announcer. You were to Artie what John was to Jay Leno. Is that true? That was your position there, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Artie's a good guy. I never got to meet him. You said he was an awesome guy, huh?
Yeah, I know Artie. Oh God, I met him back in 2003.
I didn't know you started comedy in '92.
Oh yeah.
Now Mike. Like I had a vice in my life that I had I was an addict. You were an alcoholic up until '97.
Yep, I stopped drinking. Well, here's how I started drinking. Right. Okay, the first time I ever had a beer. Right, I was like 14. One of my dad's friends had a house.
Right.
Like not a house, like a mobile home upstate New York. Right, and he took me there for vacation up there, right? And he had a mobile home, and he goes, "Have one of these." I never drank a beer in my life, Joe, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't like it at first, right? I was like, "Oh, this is nasty," right? So I had a couple of them, and we went up there. We shot it was crazy, Joe. We shot a rifle after drinking a little bit of the.
You start letting loose, huh?
It's fun, but the thing is, what's crazy, and then. The second time I ever drank was on Halloween, 1975, at my friend's house.
Halloween '75 is the day that Michael Franzese was made.
That's crazy. I know. It's like I went to a friend's house, hung out. He gave me a quart of Budweiser, right? I think it was like 50 cents then. How crazy is that, right? Drank it a little bit, didn't like it. Okay, here's what happened later on. Then I developed a taste for it.
Yes.
And I had a friend of mine, God rest his soul, my friend Nick, that I met back in 1980. He was a year older than me or so.
Yep. You were born in '61, Mike?
Yeah. When I worked in a gas station, my friend Nick had just got out of the military. He was a Marine.
Mike, you were a Marine too. Now, people don't know that about you.
I never graduated, so I
but
can't
you
call
went in the
myself
Marines in 1980, didn't you?
Yeah, I never graduated.
I know that, but you did sign up to be a Marine.
Yes. But my friend Nick was an actual Marine. He was there for a couple of years, right? And he was the best because he taught me how to drink. The Marines definitely how to drink, right?
Yeah.
Joe, he introduced me to Jack Daniels, right?
Ooh.
Now, but Nick was a great friend.
Yeah.
Joe, he was my bodyguard in Bulldog.
I love it. I love it.
My
So,
Luke
the
Brasi-
memories you probably have of that is what keep him close to
Oh,
you.
he's my. Because anybody bothered me, Joe. He was not a big guy. He was like maybe.
All guys are the guy. Yep.
He was like
loyal. He was a loyal
your
friend.
size, like tall, maybe
Yeah.
that average.
Yeah.
But like you, Joe, lean and wiry.
Yeah. That's it.
You know what I mean?
We
And
had a
he's
lot to
maniac,
prove. We had a lot to
being
prove.
a Marine, right? And we started. Oh, and then, Joe, I got so. I got to tell you about my cousin's wedding. How shit faced I got.
I'm sure everybody's enjoying all these stories, Mike. Because I know people are raving about the person that gave the super chat to Kevin to put us together. It was brilliant. He said, "You got to put Mike and Joe together. I bet you it's going to be gold. They're going to click." And
Joe,
I'll tell you what, it did. I'm glad that we finally got together.
Thank you, because Joe, this is what happened at my cousin's wedding, right? She got married in 1982. I was only 21, right?
Yeah, I was 82. I was 82. I was 16, going on 17 in 82.
For years, right? They threw my cousin up in my face, like she'll be a success, and they thought I was a loser. You know what I mean? Like, being family said this about me, right?
Yeah.
So I had a little resentment, right? Okay, she had a wedding at a very nice, like high-end hotel in the shade of Manhattan. You know, like
Yep, sure.
my uncle helped pay for it. Really nice place. Joe was like white gloves where they served you steak, that kind of
Yeah.
place, right? Okay, I get there. Now, normally during the cocktail hour, what do people have? A couple of drinks, right? Cocktail hour. Joe, I pounded down about 8 or 9 rum of Cokes.
You got pretty wasted, didn't you?
Pounding them down, right? Joe, by the time we got served dinner, I grabbed prime rib like it was a goddamn McRib at McDonald's.
Yeah, I
right?
love prime rib. I love it. It's
I
one
had
of my
it
favorites.
was all over me, dripping on me. I'm wiping my
Oh.
face like this, right? Joe, I haven't seen my third cousin Marilyn since she was like 12.
Yeah.
She was smoking hot in her early 20s. I'm hitting on my third cousin, like saying all kinds of vile stuff.
Yeah.
My mom's elbowing me. She goes, "That's your third cousin, you idiot. You idiot," right?
Oh,
What
my
do you
God.
call it? And then I almost got in a brawl with the bartender. My cousin's husband, Mike, was a former Marine. He was like 6'5", 300
Yeah.
pounds. He was a Korean war vet.
Oh, boy.
Held me down, you know, and so I didn't get in brawls. And Joe, I woke up the next day. I don't know if you had one. I'm sure you might have from drinking.
I've had a few nights.
Wait, listen to this, right? With a 2-day hangover, not just a 1 day.
I've had them too. Mike, when you I know that you graduated high school in 1979, I believe.
Yes.
You did sign up and go into Marine Corps. You didn't. You got out of it after a few weeks. I'm assuming it was boot camp.
Yeah,
You-
it was
you
like
decided
6
to pull
weeks.
out. You went through. You discovered
I,
to be a
I
comedian.
went through the first phase of training.
Is it? Yes, that's what I read that about you.
Oh my God, Joe, it was crazy because my friend Nick,
Did you go
was
to Paradise
Marine.
Island, or were you in San Diego, or were you in North Carolina? Or South-
Paris Island, South
Paris
Carolina.
Island. Okay. Yeah.
Joe, it was crazy because my friend Nick,
Uh huh.
of all people, tried to talk me out of it, right?
Yeah.
He goes, "It's intense. They're psycho there." That's what he said. It's intense.
Yeah.
He goes, "It's going to be really brutal," right? And I was only 19, right?
Yeah, of course. We're all piss and vinegar at 19.
I thought I knew the world, right?
That's
and
right.
everything. 19, I thought I was going to be John Wayne charging over the hill.
But you got a double standard. You not only got Italian blood in you, you got Irish blood in you.
Oh yeah.
So you got the hot mix, what we call in Chicago.
oh, God.
You got
You
that
know what?
double temper.
You know what it is, Joe? I found out recently, the Irish are mixed with Viking blood.
Yeah, I believe that. That's true. That's true.
I'm like, holy crap.
They were great warriors, according
Right,
to
and the
some
thing
of
is-
Irish history.
Joe, it was an interesting experience. But the thing is, like, I totally love and respect the military to this
Yeah,
day.
I do too. There was my grandfather. I told you. I sent you the article. My grandfather got the Silver Star in World War II for saving about 6 men single.
Oh, God bless
I sent you
him,
the article. That was my grandfather in the picture of my mother's father. So
He's
I have
from
a
the
lot of
great
respect for-
generation.
Yeah,
That's what they called him, right? Because they don't build people like him anymore, Joe.
No,
Those days are done.
they
Am
don't-
I right
yeah.
or wrong? Done.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're right about that. Now you got into comedy because you saw Red Fox doing a set, right?
Oh yeah. Well, no. What happened was, I was always a fat kid that was bullied from like
Yeah, I read that too. I read that too.
preschool to like high school, right?
Yeah.
Then I watched Red Fox. I mean, on TV. I loved his TV show.
Right.
Then I bought his stand. I know he did stand up, and when I listened to it, Joe, I was laughed at out of meanness, right?
Yeah.
They were laughing at Red out of love. There's a big
Right.
difference.
You said that. I said that. I saw an article that you talked with somebody. You said that you saw that they didn't laugh at him; they laughed with him.
And I was like, whoa, this felt fantastic.
Yeah.
And I was about 12, and I wanted to be confident that moment. You know what happened, though? When I was about 18 back in 79, I wanted to do comedy then. I should have, but I didn't know how to go about it. I knew nothing about open mics. I was kind of like a shy kid. I don't want to really travel into the city. And it's like, I remember calling up Dangerfields when I was like 18.
Yeah.
And Rodney got on the phone, and I go, "Do you have amateur night?" He goes, "Well, it depends what's on."
Right. He was my favorite, Rodney. I loved Rodney Dangerfield.
How funny is that? It depends what's on stage. That's what he said.
I tell you, my car broke down. I called AAA. I left the car and towed me away. I tell you.
Good. But I waited till my late 20s. But the thing is, Joe, there's nothing like it when you hear people laughing. Right?
Yes.
It's such a high. Joe, it's better than any drug, alcohol high I ever had.
I imagine. You've known Kevin Brennan since 1993. Is that true?
Yeah.
I saw your roast when you went up there at the roast when you guys roasted it back in the back in the day.
Joe, that's not one of my specialties because roasting is not easy.
Yes, I know. Did you hear Chad Zumock yesterday? Now, did you Kevin lost his monetization last night for a while?
Oh no.
Well, he had Scarlett Hampton on, and she was brutal. So people were telling him the super chat. So he then he finally said, "Yeah, I got a message an hour ago." They temporarily suspended him from having super chat because she was so vile last night on his show. He was feeling good. Bob Levy was on there and Chad Zuma. It was about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. They were left, and she just took the floor, and she was so vile. And Kevin goes, and Chad was trying to chop her at the knees, and he's telling, "Come on, Kevin, talk." He goes, "She won't let me talk." Kevin was so relaxed, but then when someone publicly told him your super chats are not working, he goes, "Yeah, I know. I learned it about an hour ago." He just cut the show. Didn't even say goodbye or nothing. He just shut the show.
Well, it's horrible because that's why when I go on there, Joe, I got to watch my mouth because when I get angry, I have no.
Yeah, I know.
No editing system. You know what I mean?
I feel bad because I know he's trying to help her, but people got to realize nobody's going to be able to help her unless she wants to be.
No, Joe, just because it's we have free speech in here, you can't go that free.
No, you can't help anybody in this world unless they're going to want to be helped. You
No,
can go
because like
take the worst
Joe, how
drug addict.
old were you? If you don't mind me asking me, how old were you when you started drinking?
Mike, I wasn't a big drinker. That wasn't my forte. But I started drinking. The very first time I got drunk, I was 17. I drank a bunch of wine, different cheap wines that was in my girlfriend's refrigerator. Her mom and dad were away for the weekend, and we got drunk very first time. I was sicker than a dog the next day. I had to work the ball game. I went to the clubhouse. I was out in the hot heat at Wrigley Field I think they were playing the Mets. And I had such a hangover, I never wanted to drink again. I was throwing up all over the place. But I was 17, almost 18. And then when the season was over, I was getting ready, preparing to be a father because I had my first child. I was 17.
Oh, God bless you.
So I had that summer was a lot of things for me. I started doing cocaine when I was about 20 and a half. I started doing it when I was in the academy.
Well,
I started partying with some friends of mine. Can you imagine? I have all the time to do it. I go on the sheriff's department. I'm in the academy, and I start doing drugs. I became a certified crackhead by the time I was 21. Lost my job by the time I was 22. And I got a funny saying that I say this because I quit smoking crack and I stopped drinking in 2009. 2008. But I have a funny punchline. People say, "What kind of drugs you do? Did you smoke crack?" I said, "Yeah, I smoked crack one time for 10 years." But when I did drink, I drank very excessively.
Well,
I drank more when I during the summer when I was out with the baseball players because they like to drink. Pitchers,
oh God, yeah, because
especially rotation pitchers, they'll pitch. They don't got to come back to pitch for the like five man rotation. So if you're the first guy pitching, you got 1, 2, 3 3 days you could party. That fourth day you rest and then you come to pitch your day. So they'll drink for at least 2 days out of the 3. They'll have a rest day. Then they'll go back to the ballpark and do their workouts. And then on a pitcher's day they come in and they're psyching themselves out. But so I did a lot of travel in AAA with a lot of guys that that had a lot of time in big leagues. So I drank a lot, but I didn't like it. I was a lightweight. Beer made me sick, so I could drink heavier liquor and not get sick. But I did have a lot of hangovers. I didn't like always being throwing up the next day.
Oh no, it's horrible because
I would drink because I got so wigged out on cocaine that when I drank the whiskey out of the bottle or I drank gin, it brought me back to a level that I could be coherent.
well,
because
one thing about me with drugs is the only drugs I ever really did was smoke pot and hash.
I never
right?
did spot. I went to the hard stuff.
The thing is, Joe, I was terrified of cocaine
Yeah.
and other stuff like that because you know why? Because like growing up in the '60s, they always talked
Love
about
pot.
drugs.
Love peace, love and pot.
It scared me when I seen but the sick thing is, right? I never did cocaine or any of that stuff, but I was around friends who did all the
Sure,
time.
you were around guys like Artie and guys like that did.
And
I
then
became real good friends with Cabby. Cabby at the end before he died, he was doing
Well-
podcasts with me, and me and Cabby really liked me a lot. He called me every morning. We just had a ball, and
Well-
he was sick. He was very sick.
Oh God, I'm
And
sorry.
he was doing a live show with me, and he says, "Will you do me a favor?" This is what he said over the air. He said, "Please," because he knew he was dying. He said he didn't know how much longer. He was already. He couldn't walk no more. He was bound to a bed. He had a great girlfriend that loved him, and he didn't like the fact that he had to have a bed. He just was very embarrassed. He cried a few times on my stream, but he asked me. He goes, "I really like. Can you get me some crack?" And I, the way he came at me, and I said, "No, Cabby, I can't." After the show, I said, "Cabby, I understand what you're going through, but I can't be part of that. I just couldn't do it to you because if you died because I said that to you, I couldn't live with myself."
Oh
And
God.
I got a phone call 4 or 5 days later. We had just talked on that Saturday morning. He called me. He used to wake me up all the time at 6. He knew I went to bed at 6 in the morning. He called me at 6:30 or 7 in the morning, wake me up. I got new knives in the mail. I got a new microphone in the mail. He was all pumped up. He was going to podcast, and we did a 4-hour New Year's Eve on Rumble.
Oh wow.
So I became very close to him. He said that he felt like he knew me the whole life. We clicked. We had a lot in common. We both went to federal prison. He was in cocaine heavy. We both had dealings with Stutter and John. He told me a lot of things about Stutter and John, and and how he really didn't train for the fight, and he that was all rigged. There's no way that they can say he didn't beat John. Now he take away that John did get some good hits in, and John was prepared, and John was all gun ho to win. But if you watch the fight, you got to believe that Howard might have had the fix in. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But Cabby seemed to think that he won, but he went to prison because he was bragging on the radio that he didn't pay taxes on the $100,000.
Oh God, that's so crazy.
And the IRS came in and arrested him. He did a year and a day in federal prison. And Cabby told me some pretty very vocal about some gay experiences he had, and he's done everything. The man, I love the guy like a brother. I was sad. And his girlfriend, I was the first one she called when he passed. That she knew that he loved me. She said he raved about me all the time. That he felt like he knew me his whole life. He had a connection with me that we made. And I only known him about 8 months.
That's
And
horrible.
I felt like I know the guy. I love the guy to death, man. I wish I got to meet him in person, but
It's
was
horrible
hard.
to lose people like that because it's
it
like
is.
one of the reasons I stopped drinking too was I started hanging around with people that were drinking. But the worst thing too was the people I was drinking with also based cocaine in mom's basement,
Yeah.
right? And you know what's crazy? They were all calling all kinds of psychos and drug dealers in the middle of the night and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine said, "Get away from me." She goes, "Because you're
That's
going
a
to
good
get
friend
mixed up
telling you
in
to get away
stuff."
from it. That's a good friend.
He said, "Get away because you might wind up getting killed, getting arrested with these psychos.
That's
Just
right.
get away," which I had to do.
Dirty business, Mike. I lost a lot of years, and I self-inflicted my whole. I don't blame nobody for any.
No,
my
me either,
wrongdoings.
Joe, because my drinking was me. I don't blame anybody else
Yeah,
but
me either.
myself.
I don't blame nobody either.
But Joe,
I
how
chose
long
to
you-
do drugs.
How long have you been sober yourself, if you mind me asking?
I've only been sober since November 8th, 2021. 5 years.
That-
It'll be 5 years this November.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
And
you,
that's
thank
not
you.
an easy battle.
Well, because it got worse because I got off of cocaine because I OD'd and I was gone. They brought me back in 2008. I was in the hospital.
Wow.
They didn't think I was gone. They didn't think they brought me back. Thank God. I do remember laying on the table that I saw a lot of lights, and that I swear I told this when I woke up a couple days later. My grandmother grabbed me. She was right there in front of me and said, "It's not your time. You better straighten your ass out." And she kicked me
Wow.
back, and they said that all of a sudden I came to, and they said it was like I was flatlined, and all of a sudden it was just I gasped for air, and they couldn't believe it because I was clinically dead for 90 seconds. Any more, I would have had brain damage. Oxygen, too
Wow.
much oxygen to the brain would have caused me to be mentally retarded. But they
Joe, I
told me,
totally believe in people having people
swear
can
to
be
you.
brought back. I believe in
I
that.
swear to you, she was very upset with me, very disappointed in me. But I stayed sober for about a year and a half, and then I was introduced to the drug that I'm not gonna lie, Mike. And people call me a piece of shit and a dirtbag. You're right. I was a dirtbag, but at least I worked. I worked. I didn't steal for my stuff. I hustled, and I did provide for my family. But I could have provided better. I could have been sober. I missed a lot of things that I shouldn't have missed. But I got juice, methamphetamine, a drug that I fell in love with. I fell in love with it.
Well, Joe, that's how my family is with drinking because
That's how much they get to you. You're right. Drinking the same
I
way.
come from a long line of alcoholics. Joe, they had the same mentality. You know what their mentality was? As long as you fed your family, went to work.
That's
you'd
right.
be
That's the mentality I
shit-faced.
had. That's the same mentality I had.
Joe,
We were taught that by our heritage. That's how the Italians were. Hey, you're providing. He's providing. Doesn't matter what he's doing. As long as he's providing and he's doing. And I did. I did everything for Mike. But you know
And
what?
Joe, it's crazy because somebody could be the nastiest drunk in town.
Right.
As long as he went to work and fed his family, he's a hero to everybody.
There's a right and a wrong. I take full accountability. But we got to get. We got about 25 minutes left, so I want to get to a little bit more Al Capone. We got many a weeks to talk, Mike. We're gonna get to real quick to the super tips. We got some super tips here. Get those out of the way.
And Joe, what I was going to tell you was my battery, it's like on 31.
It's on 31. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna touch a couple things. I'm gonna go through the super tips and super chats. We're gonna maybe look at some of the chats. We'll talk a little bit more about Al Capone. I think we covered a lot of Al Capone without having to look at articles and videos. I didn't want to. It's our first show, so we were prepared. I first time since I've been podcasting. I promise you, I spent every day since you and I decided to do this. And I had my friend came in and he set up a studio the right way, and he even said, he goes, "I'm proud of you. You're doing the work."
Joe, can I just say two more things about Al quick?
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
These are two more good things people he did. Number one, he got dressed every year as Santa Claus and gave out gifts and
I believe that.
And another thing he did was, thanks to him today, he's the reason we have expiration date on milk. Because one of his nieces got really sick on milk.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And after that,
yes.
he bought a factory.
A milk factory, a milk plant.
Milk factory,
Yes.
and made sure there was expiration dates on milk
That's right.
everywhere.
That's right. That's a fact. And we'll do Al again another day. There's so much of things that he did. He had a milk factory. He made sure, because of what happened to his niece, that from that point on there was an expert. He did a lot of good stuff. And I'm not saying that he was a GQ perfect citizen. Yes, he was a gangster. But I tell you what, believe this or not, in the last 150 years of society in America, out of all the bad gangsters and all the gangbangers and all the cartels, no one had more class than the Italian mafia. Nobody.
I know.
Nobody. They didn't hurt innocent people. They didn't let anybody hurt children. You know, these cartels are brutal. So, and we're not going to cover just gang. Mike and I, we want to do some of the crooked police officers from Chicago, New York.
God, yeah.
We're going to do some shows on them. We're going to do shows on some of the we're doing Honor and Blood. The reason we thought, first of all, if we were to put blood and honor, we didn't want people to be, we didn't want to get misconstrued, and the real gangsters that I have, ex-gangs that have podcasts, come after us and say, you weren't part of the mafia. Why do you got blood and honor? So we were just showing that they were honored, and they did have blood.
Of course, because first of all, everybody, like Joey said, we want to point it out. We're not in the mob. We never were wise guys, associates. We just grew up around people like this.
That's right. That's right. I could have, like I said, Mike could have easily been recruited in. I could have been. I made that choice that it wouldn't have been. For one, I opened my mouth too much, and I probably would have been dead right away. I didn't know how to. I had a quick tongue to sass back to people or stuff like that to anger. I wouldn't have lasted.
I mean, because I had a bad temper when I was young.
Yeah.
I would have been a loose cannon, and they would have put me in the
Me
ground very early.
I would have been killed right away because my judgment. I never used to think I should get very angry and jump into the wrong decision, and that wouldn't have flew with those guys.
Me
They would've
too,
took me out
Joe.
and killed me.
We'd have been. They were. I would have been a loose cannon to they put a bullet in my skull.
I would have died. I would have been dead within the first 5 years. I would have been if I'd have been a made guy. There's no way.
Me too.
I know this. So, but we're gonna play some. We got a couple super tips
nice.
right here. Let me take this off the screen for a minute. No, that's not how I do it. It's background. Oh yeah, right here. We go. There we go. All right, so we're gonna play these super tips. I got that on. All right, so I go here. It should play. So let me play this next one. This one is from it's from Anonymous, and it's a nice one. Let's play it.
Mike's mother's so filthy.
How filthy is she?
She's so filthy that she has chlamydia, which is a common bacterial sexually transmitted infection frequently found in prostitutes.
Girl, same.
That was from Anonymous, Mike. I don't know who sent that, but they spent $17 to rip on your mother. You want to go ahead and be the Mike Machete? I told you got carte blanche here,
Well,
buddy.
you know what? For $17, I could bang your mother for 9 months.
Mike's handling this. I don't like this stuff like this, Mike. I don't like it, but one thing I tell them, you want to insult us? You want to insult their mothers? You want to come at me? They gotta pay. I mean, that's
I'll
only
do
fair.
that, Joe. For $17, I could bang your mom for 9 months.
Yeah, exactly. I like that, Mike. Mike's handling it like a trooper. I don't like it. We got another one here.
Joey,
Eric
which
Schroeder.
kind of magic did you use to get Mrs. Rosie O'Donnell to come on your show this evening? I don't think my majestical powers could make this possible. Comic said, this show is full of falsehoods from two broken down hobos scamming mob now.
Well, that was from the great Eric Schum. And Karmic is a guy that's been coming after me. He's nothing but a liar. And
I heard about it. I don't know. These are the names I heard, right, Joe?
yeah, he's with Felicia Gillespie. You know the comedian Felicia Gillespie?
Oh, yeah. I heard Carmack. I heard
Carmack, yeah, her
Tukey.
card.
I heard of the mask. All these fucking.
Yeah.
I don't know none of them.
You know, Mike, Joey C, Joey C, he's a pile of shit on the road there. Joey C is like the shit that comes out of my ass, Mike.
Oh, God.
You know, I'm in love with Felicia Gillespie there. You know, Mike, you know.
Okay.
That's that guy. He's the tard that, you know, he won't come out of the closet. He won't admit that he's gay, which is okay to be gay. I don't care. That's his business. But at least don't hide it. He lies to his fans about everything. He's attacked me brutally. And he's mad at me because I found out because he's the dummy that left his real name in public chats on a public page, his Facebook, with all his family open to everybody to view his family, his mother and father. I didn't go privately and put anything. I put everything that was public knowledge that this idiot left open.
Oh, God.
So I don't know. That was our super tips. How do you like the super tips with the voices and stuff like that?
It's fun. I like this.
Patrick
because
Melton and Moody are the guys that designed this. The
That's
comedian
awesome.
Patrick
Yeah.
Melton. This is his baby with his partner Moody.
I had a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun too, Mike. Let's get to the super. We got some super, and then I like to answer some of the chats, Mike, and get with the chat. I know Kevin he doesn't look at the free chat, but I'm not worried. I'm not as status as Kevin Brennan, so
Okay.
I do like to read some of the fans. There are probably going to be a lot of nasty ones. Maybe you, Mike. Not that I'm not glad that they might do it. Maybe the next couple of days you might take a lot more shit than me because I get the shit every day. So maybe I'll get a break and they're going to just bounce on you for a couple of days. I don't know.
But they can come at me, Joe. I don't care. Because
But you got the punchline. I just yell and scream at them. Let me see what we got here. If we got anything else here. Okay, we got a few of them. So this is from Brent Monkhouse. Brent Monkhouse, Australian $2. Thank you, buddy. What about mob boss Rocco Burrow? Dangerous. Rocco is Tukey the puppet.
Oh, okay. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's a joke he's making. Yeah, got to watch out for Rocco. Rocco is he's a dangerous woman. He is, Rocco.
That puppet will turn on you.
That puppet is vicious. Now, the puppet I don't trust. Rocco's
that
a
that
genuine guy.
puppet will cut your throat with it.
You better believe it. Tukey's he was conceived from Ray DeVito jerking off into a handkerchief. And the come of Ray DeVito is how Tukey was born. Did you know that?
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Now here's this one. This is from Crooklyn Comedy. This is another comic guy. $4.99. Thank you. If you know from what you read, Bugsy Siegel was a alleged spy for what country? That's a good thing. I should have wrote it down because I'm one of them guys when I read. But this
I'm not
just
sure
came out-
myself.
It was a
That's
matter of
good.
fact. I wish I had time to find it. I will do it on one of my shows that I do later on in the week. I'll find that and I'll play it for you. There was an article. This is all speculation because for 50 years they kept it sealed. Most of the stuff that he has in the
So
redacted.
many things they keep sealed for years.
And I can't remember the name of the country that they were saying that he was. I just it was just last night. I was preparing, and I thought it was maybe it was in. Here, I think I know where it's at. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. And this is where I'll tell you where they say it. Just give me a minute.
Joe,
I gotta. Yeah.
I'm gonna like 26% battery. It goes down to 20 the battery.
Well,
I'm
you
not
got
sure.
at least 20 minutes. We're gonna be done in about less than 15 minutes, Mike.
Okay, you know what it is?
You got enough battery.
Oh, Joe, what was I going to say? Because when I put this on, my battery is at 100.
Yeah, well, it's what. It does take a lot of resources, especially with EVMux. It takes a lot of resources. So I'm trying to look here. This is stuff that I got out of El Capone. Let me see where it was. Was it this one? No, I remember now. Let's see. I got a bunch of stuff here I got to find. See, I didn't know someone was going to ask me this question. We were not talking about Benny Siegel. I was just doing some research on him, and it came up. No, maybe it's in my history. Maybe it was my YouTube. I watched the YouTube last night, wasn't it? So it's got to be in my history then. It'll be in my YouTube.
I'm sure they cross paths, right, Joe?
Yeah, I don't want to take up to the time. It was either video. I'll tell you what. After the show, I'll look for it and I'll post it I'll post it on,
nice.
on the community page for you, buddy. And like I said, I don't remember. I should have wrote it down, but I found it interesting that after 50 years, they're going this route now to say this about Benny Siegel. They're different. Now these are all theories, but
I think
there's
his
still
daughter's
he's
still
one of the-
alive.
His what?
I think Siegel's
daughters are still alive?
still alive.
Yeah, I would say that's probably right because he died in 47. He died in June of 47, I think it was. And Mike, Mike, I know your birthday's coming up. I'm not going to tell anybody, but we're going to have a nice birthday party here for you at Catalano TV.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
That'll be fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, because you're 4 years older than me, Mike. I was born in '65, so I'm a young buck to you, right? You're the senior of the group
Joe,
now.
because I'm surprised we got this far. It freaked me out.
Oh, I tell you, life is. You know what I learned, Mike, about life is a lot of people take life for granted and they take things for granted.
Yeah,
And you
but
know what?
Joe,
The biggest thing I learned is you can't.
And
You got to cherish life every day.
Of course, because Joe, I appreciate life now at 65
too.
more than at
Me too.
25.
Mike, I never thought I'd live past 40 years old. I really never did.
Me
And
either.
I'm blessed. I got a beautiful wife. I got kids that are grown and they're doing something with their life. My
That's the
grandson,
important thing.
my daughter put a video up got it to me. My grandson, when he was 2 years old, sliding down snow in Illinois, the hill with the sled. And I looked at the video last night. I had tears in my eyes. I'm like, I remember that.
Of course.
And I go, Jesus, he's 18 and he's in college now, or
Wow.
19. He's in college. I just look, well, where did all the years go?
They go
Here's
by
another
so
super tip.
fast.
It goes by too fast, Mike. This one says Poolscad Sama, who's a great guy, $1.09. What does Mike look like? Barbara Bush now?
Oh, I
You
know
have
this
any-
guy from
you want
Kevin.
to answer that, Mike?
This guy stalked me from Kevin's show.
Yeah. Pool Scam. He's the head of my army. He's the head of the
Well,
the Pool Scam. He is now part of the Catalano family. So you might want to be a little nice to Mike. You know
what,
as a
though?
favor.
That
You know?
pool scam, what do you call it? I'll heckle you soon. When we're back in Kevin's thing, because I don't want us to get the channel struck our first night because of me.
Yes. Well, Mike's getting to learn this. He's very impressed with the studio, the way we have it set up. And I've been telling you right now, guys, it's the very first podcast that I've done. I've done 1,700 lives where I was organized. Everything is efficient. And I think it flew pretty good today.
Joe,
So-
this is the most organized I've been in my life. So
Well,
so-
me too. I'm all over the place with my podcast. Like, I'm one of the worst podcasters. I'm a guy that banters. That's what they like about it. They like to bring me up to that level and make me yell at people. But been wanting to do a show, and sometimes it takes years for you to find that combination or that spark. And when you and I clicked, and it's like we're like old cousins that got so much in common.
I know.
It fell into place. So here's another
Hey.
pool scam, Sam. This is for you, Mike. You want to read this?
And like, which worse, mom or a tuna sandwich, right? I don't know which worse, that or you being a dildo.
Oh, we got Pool Scam Sam. He's got some questions for you. Yep, there it is. There it is. I told you. Joey C. Pool Scam. Joey C. Army. Hello, Mr. Catalano. Shut up, Mike.
Oh, whatever, buddy. You know what? I'll put. You know what, buddy? You don't even have a real picture up. I don't know what the hell you look like in real life.
Pool Scam Sam. He sent some great ones. Let's see. I think we read all the other ones. I believe we did. All right. So, Mike, let's. I wanted to show two things before we get out of here. Well, we're probably gonna get to one of them. I think this is the one that might have. No, wait. I did that wrong. I can't do it like that. I have to go back here. I got to remember this. You go back here to the video, and all I got to do is click this. It's all eyes. when we set the studio, he goes, you never have to overlay anything. You got it set to the left of you. All you do is hit the eyeball, and it pops up.
Well,
You know
Joe,
easy
how
that
long
was?
has this system
Eyeballs.
been around?
Huh? Evie much?
How-
It's been around probably a couple years, I think.
Joe,
It's gonna
Zoom
blow-
is horrific.
It's they have so much things for you, but it's not as hard as OBS. OBS is complicated even for some of the smartest tech guys.
Well, but the thing, Joe, Zoom originally was
Zoom,
for
yeah.
business people. You know what I
Correct.
mean?
During the pandemic is when Zoom got their popularity. You know,
Joe, I wish I would have bought stock in Zoom during the pandemic.
yeah. I wish I'd have bought stock in Google when I had a chance 40 years ago.
Oh well.
You know, I didn't do that, but I've had a lot of opportunities, Mike, that I shit on. I had so many opportunities, and I just should have invested. I might have made some investments. I'd have been okay
Well,
in life, but
you know what, Joe?
I'm grateful for what I got now. So
If
that's
we
all I can say.
instead of that Google or Zoom, just buy property. You will know
Yeah.
we're going to make money.
Well, we got a little big. Speaking that you said that, we got a little investment with some of the little money we had with my brother-in-law and another partner. We bought a flip house that was
nice.
a mess. It had a lot of problems with from the guy that we got it from, and it's a pain right now with the people that started with. They started building without a permit, so that caused the first flag with it. So he was so buried he got out of it. We picked it up fairly cheap, but we assumed his problems now. So now I'm not a contractor. I'm not a carpenter. My wife is she's learning a lot of things, but my brother-in-law, he does. There was so many things that have to get refixed to be passed, and there's deadlines that with permits.
But Joe, at the same token, you could make a killing flipping houses if you know what you're doing.
Well, I am. People call me the dumbest guy in the Dabbleverse, and I'm not book smart. I didn't educate myself, but I'm not as dumb as they think I am. I do know how to make money, and
if this is what I would do, if I had the money for, I would flip houses. Also, what I would do is buy a bunch of houses down in like Alabama,
Yeah,
70,000.
yeah, Shuly Land.
Fix
over there.
them and rent them out as rental properties.
That's true. It's very true. So now let's go see if I can find that. There's the video. There was a video in here. This is all about the Great Al Capone back with the soup kitchen and the Great Depression. 4 years after Gangster Al Capone took over Chicago leading crime syndicate, he raked in over $40 million, around $550 million today. Remember what you said earlier, Mike? Well, this article says 40. The one I read last night said 60 million a year. So there's different speculations. Did he make 40, 50? But bottom line, 40 million back then is worth 550 million today.
Well, he's a billionaire then, but at the end of the day.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I just was at the store before we came live. I went to Walmart. We had to go pick up some groceries, and I saw the newspaper. Rays Stadium is now at $2.3 billion to build. Baseball stadium, $2.3 billion in taxpayers. They're asking the taxpayers and the city to pay for it.
Whoa.
That's a lot of money for a stadium. All right,
It's
so this
crazy,
is basically,
but the thing, Joe, the thing about baseball stadiums is how the prices fluctuate, which state.
but
you
the
go
Rays,
to.
the Yankees, I can see, but not the Rays.
No, because like Joe, like it depends. Like whatever stadium you go to, in different parts of the country, they gouge you in like New York and L.A.
It's terrible. One beer is $25.
Unbelievable.
It's the food, but the Rays, if they are losing, they don't draw nobody. They get an empty stadium. They have to win. They're putting $23 billion or $2.3 billion into a stadium that they're not the Yankees. They're not a history like the Dodgers. This is insane.
I know.
Insane for an expansion team. That's all I can say. So today's value, he'd be worth $550. Came from illegal selling booze during Prohibition. Bottles were distributors to more than 10,000 speakeasies and brothels in a vast bootlegging network across the Midwest. He supplied all the Midwest area. Capone's alcohol distribution was unlawful, but to many Americans, the man's work was heroic. He claimed he was just a businessman giving the people what they wanted. And what the people wanted more than anything in 1920 was liquor, and he provided that. And that's why the people loved him. But Capone's role as an Italian-American Robin Hood didn't stop there. As he orchestrated criminal activities behind the scenes, Capone Simulated launched a program to provide milk. Here's what Michael was just talking about, to Chicago schools, children, and donated huge sums to local charity. It was the stock market crashed in October 2020.
Hello?
In Chicago's South Loop neighborhood in mid-November of 1930, hundreds of thousands of Chicagoans were out of work. By the following year, 624,000 people, or 50% of the Chicago workforce, were out of jobs. 50% of the Chicago population were out of jobs after they closed. They put prohibition. Capone's charity had no name, just a sign over the door that advertised free soup, coffee, and donuts for the unemployed. Inside, women in white aprons serving an average of 2,200 people a day, with a smile and no questions asked. Breakfast was hot coffee and a sweet roll. Both lunch and dinner consist of, he did breakfast, lunch, and dinner, soup and bread. Every 24 hours, dinner devoured 350 loaves of bread, 100 dozen rolls. They washed down their meals with 30 pounds of coffee sweetened with 50 pounds of sugar. The whole operation cost them $300 a day to feed that many people a day. Now that is something. What do you think it would cost today, Mike, to do a soup kitchen like that? Maybe $10,000 a day? How much? Mike, you there? I think I lost him. Mike, you with me? I think we lost Mike. Mike, can you hear me, Mike? Can you hear me? We can't hear you, Mike. I think you lost your sound. I'm gonna get through this because he's running out of his battery. All right, so that's basically Al Capone. He ran soup kitchens. He paid people, strangers, rents. He paid medical bills for children. Mike's calling me. Mike,
Hey.
what happened? You lost your sound?
Yeah, you know what happened? We just froze because I'm starting to lose battery anyway now. It just said battery low.
Yeah, we're getting ready to wrap it up. I'm going to wrap it up now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to wrap it up now, Mike. And then if they can't hear you, you just tell them I'll just wave to them and tell them thank you, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right, Mike.
Thank you, Joe.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, but so like I said, we hope you you like the show tonight. We appreciate everything you did for coming here and supporting us. We have one more. I got to play one more. We got one more. I do have one more super tip. I got to play. So hang on, it just came in. I think it's showing here. It might. Oh yeah, there it is. Unplayed. Where's it at? I don't see it. It's not here. Okay, I don't see it. Oh yeah, here it is now. Okay, played. No, I guess it's not there. No, it's not there. Okay, my mistake. It came on, but there's nothing there. Okay, so we don't. Anyhow, I want to thank. Oh, and I did this again. I did what I wasn't supposed to do. So I got to put back this on. There we go. All right, so we're gonna put that back on. There we go. No, what did I do wrong? Oh, I have to go here. Oh, that's what I did wrong. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to put us back to where we're here. How do I do that again? I forgot how to do that. Anyhow, Mike's waving at you guys. Mike lost sound. On behalf of myself, I'm Joey C., and that's Mikey B. We hope you enjoyed tonight. We'll be back on every Sunday, except next week is Super Bowl. I want to thank everybody for your support. I think we got a good setup here. We will be knowledgeable when we talk. I think we flowed good tonight. We hope you enjoyed it. It's a whole different thing. I know it's not the Dabbleverse stuff, but Mike's waving to you guys. Mike, thank you, Mike. Call me tomorrow, Mike. We love you. Oh, there he is. I can hear him.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
We'll
Joe,
see you in
it was
2
a
weeks,
great
guys.
night and a
And
wonderful show. I'm sorry.
hang on now,
Have a
Mike.
great
We're going to
night,
go to
everybody.
our outro, guys. We enjoyed you. Thank you very much for being here. So here we go. All right, here we go. Thank you. All right, that's it.